How do we do? Just going to fix myself a little drink before we start. Oh, by the way, for anyone watching this on the replay, so you're not bored whilst I'm fixing myself a drink, head over to pinksbr.co.uk and use the voucher code PINK1 on 5 litres, 10 litres, or 15 litres to get yourself a little discount. Or if you use the 20 litres, just use the discount code PINK. Use both of those in full caps, okay? PINK1 on 5, 10, 15 litres, get yourself some discounts, and then use the product code, discount code PINK, PINK, capital letters, for the 20 litres. Okay, you can get yourself some money off. pinksbr.com. So get a drink and I'll be with you. Just give us 1 second. How have we all been? Ben Smith, Russell, Tom, Silverback Gamer, how's it going? Alex Cook, AJ Bubs, Omar, Dave Noble, Ding Dong, Fergus Roberts, Yusuf Amin, Andy Barrett, Harry Hargreaves, Richard Dowd, JC Clips TV, Alan Powell. How are we, fellas? Bear with me. What's been going on? What have you, right? Who's been working today? Which of you lads has been on the receiving end of some punishment by going to work on the weekend? Oh. Jay-Z Clips, I've been sound, mate. Thank you very much. Alan Powell, spot on, mate. Yusuf, I'm in. Ding dong, no beer. On the green shake. Yusuf, I hope you're happy and well. Spot on, mate. Thank you very much. Alex Cook, every weekend, mate. Had the patch job today, nice and easy. Yusuf, Fergus Roberts, greens on a Sunday night. I know. I've turned into a geek, haven't I? It's flipping. I used to take the piss out of people like me. And there's me sat in, not a beer in sight, drinking flipping green health drinks. AJ Bubs. Me and same tomorrow, line render. Oh, very nice. Jake, thoughts on using a sponge for skim? Don't do it, mate. If you're a beginner, let's just say you're a DIYer. Yeah, this is my honest opinion on it. If you're a DIYer, you use a sponge because it's easier to get a nice finish with using a sponge. But if you're gonna be a plasterer, full, make a career out of it, I wouldn't bother, because you can get a great finish by sponge floating. I'm not saying you can't. That's not the problem. The finish isn't the problem. It takes more work. There's more effort involved in sponging it. For me, it's an extra step in the process. That's why I wouldn't bother. You can get a nice job of it. It's easier for somebody that's new to plastering to get a nice job with a sponge, but it's an extra step in the process. As you start getting older, you've got to try and conserve as much energy as possible, haven't you? Got to save a little bit of energy for the missus, haven't you? Not like when you're 18 and you just got flipping bags and bags of the stuff. This drink's with half time. Yeah, I've sprinkled some half time in there. I'll probably tip a bit of pink SBR in as well, just to make sure. CJ, evening, Kurt, John Russell. What is the green drink, Kirk? AG1. These dudes sponsored a video of mine. Well, they've done 2 videos now. Over, don't know, a little while. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. They sponsor me every now and then, and because they sponsor me, whenever I've sort of worked the head on them a little bit, because when they do a sponsorship, they've got to send their product out to you. And they sent me like big bags of this green stuff, and then they send you these as well, like all these travel sachets that come like this. So I had them, and it's quite nice, you know. It's just rather than just drinking water. But then when they did the second sponsorship, I still had loads of stuff, but I didn't say nothing. And they sent me a whole nother batch of the stuff. So I've had 2 lots out of them. So now, just whenever I'm sort of busy in here, I just like to have a drink in my hands. So I would usually have a coffee, but the kettle's in the house. And if I bring the coffee and all that caper in here, or I buy my own fancy coffee to have in here, as soon as my missus spots it, it all gets ferried off to the house. So I've just give up. The amount of times I've bought jars of coffee, because I've actually, you know, look, I'm not joking. I have got a little kettle and all sorts in here, but all my supplies get pinched and took to the house. The sugar disappears, the milk disappears in the house, you know, when she hasn't been in the shop. So I've just give up now. No one's stealing these off me. These are just for me. John Russell, are you seeing any benefits from it, from the green drink? Not, I mean, the benefit of it is, and I'm not plugging it because they're not paying me for this. The benefit of it is I'm drinking it because it's got all your vitamins and minerals and goodness. And I mean, I've got the spiel somewhere that I say on the videos, but it's got good stuff in it. So it's sort of like, it tastes nice. It tastes like pineapple juice. It genuinely does taste like pineapple juice, and it's got goodness in it. Flipping at this, do you know what? I should be getting paid for talking about this. Let's not talk about AG1 anymore. I only want to talk about that if I'm getting paid for it. Alex Cook, how are you finding fitting in your SBR business and working at the same time, mate? Oh, mate, it's chaos. It's absolute chaos. It's all right now. It's sort of, it's nearly smoothed out, but just at the right bit of smoothing out, just as it's finished. One of the main people that have building the new website has gone on holiday, so yeah, it's a bit awkward, because I would love to just switch over to the new site, which is fantastic. The new site, once that's all up and going, is sort of all automated. So how it works at the minute on the old site that we're still using, by the way, the old site is now under the domain name, because I've had to switch the domain names around, so it gets complicated. But basically, the new site has to have the proper domain name that's printed on the bottles, okay? Because it has to have a safety data sheet and all that crap. It has to be all legit, right? But the old site, I bought a few different domain names because I didn't know which way we were going to go. So we had a domain name called pinksbr.co.uk. So the site that's working, the old one, we just chucked that domain name on it, right? So that's now pinksbr.co.uk. And the problem with it is, it's great, you can order it, but it doesn't talk to the shipping website. So where we get all the collections for the packages to tuck out, these 2 websites don't talk to each other properly. So there has to be someone in the middle copying and pasting information over, which is an absolute nightmare. That's the stressful bit for me, because it literally takes hours every single day. I mean, it'd be okay if you only had 1 or 2 orders, but when you wake up in the morning, you check the computer and there's like 75 orders in one day. It's like, oh, it's 3 hours of copying and pasting stuff over. So the new one will do all that faster, but anyway, it's not ready yet. By the way, we're also just waffling about that. For today and tomorrow, if you go on that site, pinksbr.co.uk, this is for you guys. If you go on that site www.pinkspr.co.uk, and if you order 5, 10, or 15 litres, use the promo code PINK1, PINK 1, all capital letters with the number 1. Okay, no spaces, and you get some discount. If you go for the 20 litres, which is the best deal because you get the best shipping rates on it, use the promo code PINK, PINK, all capitals, no numbers, nothing, just pink, and you'll get an even better discount off that. Okay. Anyway, on with the show. I'm a level 1 apprentice. This is Jake, being made to use it for work. How many times should I go over a wall? I've been told 2 wet trials and 1 hard. However, the plasterer at work only says I need 1. What's with that, Jake? Is it you asking about the sponge? Okay. Right, okay, Jake. So you're being made to use a sponge in work. I see. Okay, mate. Well, look, I'll just tell you what I do, Jake. Here's the thing, mate. Here's the thing. If you're an apprentice and you're being taught by a plasterer and he wants to teach you to do a specific thing, just go with the flow, mate. So I might say, don't use it, right? And I might be against it. But here's the thing. That's just me. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat. And if the fellow that's teaching you is telling you to do it, then just do as he's telling you for now. If you're in your apprenticeship still, just do what you're being told to do, mate. Because here's the thing. You might in the future decide that you don't want to use a sponge anymore. It doesn't mean you're going to be a sponger for the rest of your life. But if you start disagreeing with him and trying to do your own thing, he's going to sort of feel a little bit like you're being a bit, disobedient student. What he teaches you and how fast he brings you on will probably slow down if he feels like you're being an awkward little pain in the ass. So I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying I would just do as he says for now, And then in the future, I mean, look, I've got a sponge in my van. I just don't use it, but it's there. I have used it. You don't have to lock yourself in and say, oh, I do it this way and I do it that way. It's funny. I put little videos out, little short videos, right, on TikTok, and I do videos on YouTube. And what happens is they watch your stuff and they see you do one thing and then they go, you shouldn't do that way. You should do that. I'm like, listen, there's 20 ways of doing everything and I will do all different ways. It just depends what situation you're in. So I might be on a job one time and the stuff starts pulling in a bit funny or it starts sliding round. If someone's gone over some wet PVA and it's sliding round, the sponge is a great little tool to get rid of that then. Whilst it's sliding around, just leave it, flick a bit of water on it, leave it for a bit, let it pick up, sponge it, and then trowel it up. So I'm not saying I'll never use a sponge either. I'll get people, like, I'll put beads on, and I'll be doing a rendering job and I'll put some beads on with pink grip. You should bed it in the base coat, you're wrong, and they think because you've just used pink grip that's the hard, fast rule that I've set and that's all I do. But then the next job, they're all bedded in. It just depends. Different situations call for different ways of getting around things. So don't lock yourself in. Don't pigeonhole yourself if you can help it. Andy Barrett, been plastering inside a tiny cupboard, no space at all. How do you think I feel, mate? To the size of my belly. If I get in the cupboards, I can't flip and get back out again. I'm not even joking. I remember in this attic space, when it comes right down, they built walls, so there's storage in the little triangle bit. And I'm not kidding you. I got in, I was plastering it. And then because it was all wet, because I just lay on my back and did everything right round. And I had the lad sort of out, I was passing the handboard down, he was loading me up and I was carrying on, And then I got to, and I realised I can't get out without putting my hair or something in the plaster. So it had to slide me out by my feet. Oh, flipping. The joys of being a fatty. Joking JMO, greetings from Finland. Wow, great channel. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Evening Kirk from Spain. Sampri Lazio Green Poo. I don't know, maybe. Oh, Maybe. I don't really inspect it, to be honest with you, mate. Be a good advert for them, wouldn't it? Ba. Oh, John, I'll shut up and drink my beer. You enjoy it, mate. You enjoy your beer. I am a bit jealous of you, I'll be honest with you. Craig Everton, best bit, the satisfaction, or the good pay of your work. Best bit, the satisfaction or the good pay of your work. I don't know if you're asking me a question, which one I prefer here. So I'm going to go with if you. I used to get loads of job satisfaction. What are you? I tell you what, I used to do when we were on the building sites, especially when I was young. I used to get satisfaction of, would skim the upstairs of a house in a day. So there'd be like me apprentice, and the labourer, and I'd skim the 3 bedrooms, do 3 mixes, and I'd skim the 3 bedrooms. I'd break them all up. I'd do like the 3 ceilings first, and then all the opposites second mix, and then all the other opposites the mix after. Just stay with me. I'm trying to talk quick. So I'd skim the 3 bedrooms, and then the apprentice would skim the bathroom and a bit of the landing, and then obviously the lad that's mixing, the labourer, he would also chuck the odd wall on, so we'd get the upstairs of the house done in a day. And I'd look back at how many meters we had done, and I used to get quite, a bit of satisfaction of that, looking at it all nice and sharp and neat and square. But I mean, I think that wears off after a few years, and then it used to be you sort of look forward to getting a nice big chunk of cash when you finish the job, and then now I don't know. I'm sort of at the point in my life where I don't even care about the money. It's like, not because I've got loads of it, I haven't, but it's like, as long my life doesn't really change, if you could finish a job and get 500 quid or 1,000 quid or 2,000 quid, but what I do the next day is exactly the same. I'm still just gonna eat the same stuff, wear the same clothes, do the same things. So I mean, ultimately, I'm like a slave. Listening, they're in the house. I'm like a slave. All I do is work and hand money over to the wife and kids. I just flipping. So it doesn't really make a difference to me about the money either. Anyway, T. Hello, Kirk. How's it going, T? N40. Hi, I've got some plaster falling off the ceiling under the stairs, and it's the old lath and plaster. It's about a foot square that has fallen off. Okay. Take off all that's loose. Don't start pulling it down loose bits, because you'll loosen the next bit, it'll spread. So take off any bits that are just falling off, and then if there's flappy round bits that you want to try and salvage, because as you pull more off, it'll just keep loosening it, and it'll grow and grow and grow. So you want to sort of get it to a point where all the broken bits have fell off. See if you can support it a little bit. Now, you're not going to be able to back plaster it from above, so you're going to have to sort of try and do this quite a smart way. Seal around the edge of the lime plaster. Okay, get some SBR and seal it, paint it all loads round it. And now, because your laths will be bone dry, I'd probably just seal them as well. Okay, hoover out between them, get all the crumbs and all the bits from between the laths out. You want it all spotless, right? Then seal everything with SBR. And then what I'd probably do is get some dry wall adhesive and start squeezing it in to all the edges of the plaster and pushing it through the laths. You're trying to get it to, like, imagine they're the laths like that. You're trying to get your plaster to sort of mushroom and make like the shape of a mushroom over the lath, but you want to push it in to the old plaster, around the hole. You're trying to squeeze it right in all around there first to tie all the old stuff in. And then you could, dry wall adhesive will do it if it's only a small patch. Dry wall adhesive bonding. I mean, you could go down the route getting lime and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know how much time you've got, how much you want to spend, and how important it is for you for it to be like, like for like. Dry wall adhesive, squeeze that in fairly thick, build it up in coats, squeeze a load in, mushroom it over the top of the laths, key it, let it set, do another coat, let it set, down till it's flush, and then you can just patch it with some finish. Now, if you're a DIYer, if if you're not a plasterer, you might find it easier once you get it sort of flush then to go and get some easy fill. Put it on as flat as you possibly can. You can trowel it up a little bit, and then the thing with easy fill is you can trowel it up like plaster. You can get a nice job of it. But if you're not a plasterer and you struggle, once it's set, it's very easy to sand down. So, or the easiest option is, if you value your time more than your money, just phone a plasterer to come and patch it up for you. But, you know, probably get someone like me that'll try and rip you off. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Before everyone says, see, I knew he was a rip-off. Whip it, Ralph. Hi, Kirk. How's your apprentice getting on? Is he an apprentice with initiative? He's a good lad. He's a good lad. He turns up on time. Yeah. So everybody's different. Everybody learns at different speeds. Some people are really quick. Some people take a little bit longer. Ultimately, he's not the fastest, but he's willing and keen. I've had lads that don't want to be there. He turns up for work every day. He wants to come in. What I think happens, and I don't think this is just Leighton, I think there's a lot of young lads these days. They just zone out. Like, there's that much stuff going on now. Like, when I was an apprentice, there was no such thing as Facebook. There was no such thing as social. In fact, there was no such thing as you had a phone. And when I was an apprentice, I had a mobile phone that I could send the text message on, or I could play Snake on. So that was it. You know, it would be like, you know, when you're young and you've got your girlfriend and there's stuff going on behind the scenes, you know, she's giving you a bit of earache, or you've had a little argument or whatever. Well, all that can only be dealt with at home, can't it? Because you're in work now. But now people are that accessible with the phones. There's just information, there's just communication and all sorts happening permanently all day. So I think, I mean, he's not on his phone all day. He's not allowed to be. But I think because he can be on his phone at break, at dinner, at evening break, you know, he's allowed to go and check it every now and then. I think his brain is just like, but I mean, Kieran was the same. I think it's all just young lads, you know. Keith Sourwood, hi, could you do a job for me in Epping, Essex? I'm not sure where you're based. Mate, I'll be honest with you. Do you know what? I'd love to nip down to Essex just to go and see the place. I've never been. And it's a probably interesting job, and I'd love to say, yeah, I've got that much stuff going on at the minute, mate. I'm that busy. I'd probably just mess you around and drive you absolutely nuts. I haven't got time, and it'll just cause you more chaos, and probably cost you a fortune for having to put me up and flipping travel expenses and everything else. So, I'm just outside Liverpool, mate. I'm between Liverpool and Chester, so I'm a good 4 hours from you, I think. James Alafoon, how's it going, mate? Glenn Fraser, what's the difference between board finish and multi-finish, as I've only used multi-finish on boards and old walls? Okay, only difference is board finish just sets a little bit faster and doesn't come back as much. With multi-finish, you can bring the stuff back to life a bit of water. You can splash a bit of water on it or brush it, and you can bring it back a little bit. Board finish, you can to an extent, but it'll just, if you were working on a building site, then I know if I was using multi-finish and I was doing 3 mixes a day, it's going to be a long day. Whereas if board finish, you know, you can get your mixes sort of done in 2.5 hours, 2 hours, you know, thereabouts. You can get quite a bit done quite quick. It just sets a little bit faster, that's all. You know, but if you're only plastering one wall at a time, say, then you probably wouldn't notice the difference. James, see you tomorrow, mate. Yes, looking forward to it, James. Will literally be not even 5 minutes, a 5-minute walk from my house, mate, is where I'll be. Cathal Bork, good evening, Kirk. Good evening. Fergus at Roberts, managed to skim 3 rooms in my house reno thanks to watching your vids, mate. Massively appreciate your vids. Top man. Do you know what I need to? I'm in the middle of just editing another video now because I know it's been a bit quiet, but it's just because I've had so much going on. But I'm actually in the process now of just editing another video, and it should be done tomorrow. So we'll just we'll see. James, how much SBR left of batch 2? Batch 2's gone, mate. We're on batch 3 now. Delivery come in yesterday evening, so the lads are working on that now. When I say now, they've been in there today, this morning, I think, doing a bit the morning shift. Daniel Solero, evening, Kirk. John Adams, oh my God, plastered the ceiling with LED in plaster profiles the other day. Cool design. Oh, we're there. LED in plaster profiles the other day. Cool design with lots of 90-degree turns, but nightmare to plaster. But it looks smart though, mate. But it looks nice. Alan Powell, watching you in Mexico City, by the way. Flipping it, mate. Don't say that. I'm sat in my little flipping dingy workshop in Ellesmere Port whilst you're summing it up in Mexico. Gary Fletcher, great content, Kirk. Hope you're well, fella from Lincoln. Cheers, Gary. You're a gentleman. TMG on the piss again. Yes. I feel like Popeye, but the only thing that's popped out up to now is my belly. Yusuf Emin, got to keep the old lady happy. You know the score, mate. T, how many rooms can you plaster in a day now? And how many would be a good amount to do as a level 2 plasterer? If you're on site, if you're on a building site, mate, then you know you want to be working your way up to, I don't know. It's this is the thing. This is the sad thing, right, about site, because it's price per square meter. So you want to be as fast as possible. So I would say when I was on price, I would use 10 bags of plaster myself every day. That's when I was skimming. I would get through 10 bags. I would use 3 bags per mix. Well, I'd have 3 buckets, but I'd get about a bag and a quarter in each bucket. Does that make sense? So, because I'd have single buckets at a time. This is just how I worked. All plasterers work different. Some fellas mix the whole setup in one go. Some guys break it up like I did. So I would do 3 hits in a day. And in each hit, I would use 3 bags of plaster. So it'd be 3 gauges a day, 3 bags of plaster in each gauge. But when I say 3 bags of plaster, what I mean is 3 buckets of plaster, which would be a bag and a bit in each bucket. Okay, so by the end of the day, I've done 9 bags, and we've had a bag that we've been topping every bucket up with. So it'd end up being about 10 bags a day. That's what I was doing day in, day out. There was lads that were faster than me, and there was loads of lads that weren't quite as quick. But all I'd say to you is, mate, don't worry about trying to be the fastest. Try and be the neatest, and then get faster. Neatness is more important than speed. Okay, that's what my old fellow used to say to me. He said, I don't care about us getting kicked off a job for being slow, but they'll never call me rough. That's what my dad used to say all the time. You know, get it mint. Doesn't matter about the speed, you know. There's no point being fast and crap. So, but that's the way it seems to be going on building sites. I know my mate that's still on site is telling me all the time that the standard is horrendous, and these are working in houses that are like 300, 400, 500 grand homes, and the workmanship is just shocking in them. Anyway, level 2 apprentice. I don't. So you're in your 2nd year. I mean, I wouldn't even be worrying too much about going fast yet. Just try and get the whole system mastered first, you know, so you know what you're doing, and then speed up. You know, Speed up when you're on your own. Speed up when you're on price, when you're making the money. Don't be going like the clappers when you're just getting paid day work. Um, Paul Mikzokowski. Powell Mikskowski, I think that is how you pronounce that. I know it's Polish. I can tell you're Polish. Dzień dobry, my friend. What is the best way to take plaster off from the eye if it drops in? I've always just used fresh water, mate, just straight on the tap. Just get your eye under the tap and just run it through. Or, you know, you can get little eye drops and washes. I've been quite fortunate with this. If my dad or my brother ever got plaster in their eye, even a tiny little drop, the next day that I'd be out here, it'd go bright red. The next day it'd be stuck together. You know, they wouldn't be able to see out of it. They'd have to go home and all sorts of stuff. And also, what I used to find with me dad and my brother is that their skin, if they got plaster on the hands or powder, the skin would crack and split. All the ends of the fingers would split and crack. I don't know why I'm different, but whenever I get plaster in my eye, I can literally just keep blinking and wipe it out, and it's fine. I've had full eyefuls of it, and the worst of it was like it took ages to get my eye, it scratched my eye a little bit, and the next morning my eye was stuck together like it didn't open. I just had to like pop it open. It was fine again, and my skin doesn't seem to split. It seems to be like I'm at one with the plaster. It doesn't hurt me. Doesn't taste very nice though. But I just wash it with clean water, mate, you know. Paul Smith, never used extra time, but got a loft room to do this week coming. What's your thoughts with the temperatures we're having lately? Yeah, we end up keep having to do these like little, they call them hot systems. They're like little extensions for a double glazing firm we do work for, and they all have like glass lanterns, so not full glass roofs like conservatories. I don't even think the firm I work for do conservatories anymore. It all seems to be these lanterns, and the heat that comes through them is horrendous. Your plaster starts peeling when you're traveling up. It's just a flipping nightmare. I'm not a fan of using extra time, to be honest with you. I would prefer to have, when it's hot, I would prefer to put half time in it and do more smaller hits, you know, 2 sachets of half time in 3/4 of a bucket of plaster, and get like 2 opposites on and troweled up and finished in like an hour and a half or something, you know, an hour and a quarter, and then the same again, done quick, you know. And you haven't got to go out the clappers because you've only got a small amount on, but you're not struggling trying to run around the whole room in the heat, you know. It's manageable because you're just doing little hits, but they're going off quick. So with half time, you can get, you know, you can do about 6 or 7 little mini gauges in a day, you know, whatever you want to call it, gauges, sets, hits, that they all mean the same thing. Okay, so I'll just interchange them because I know all over the country people call it different things. James Alafoon, I've never done site work and never want to. I'd rather look after the little people and take the time to do a spot on job. It seems nowadays site work is purely about the meter square, less about the finish. I think it always has been, mate. I think it's only ever been about the meter squared. Especially when it's only, when I was on site, it was £2.50 a meter. So every day trying to get you 100 meters in. Ready to burn wood art, Hiya Kirk. How you doing? So for all the new guys on the live, these guys, Ready to Burn Wood Art, made that for me. That beautiful clock here. There you go. Look at that. Flipping fantastic. You have to go and check their page out. They're on Facebook as well. Lovely people. Michael Duff. Kirk, when is the next bathroom vid? Please stop asking me. You don't even know how much trouble I'm in over these bathroom videos. Flipping. I'm just too busy. I keep telling, is my Mrs. Page, are you one of my wife's friends, Michael Duff? Does my Mrs. Page you to be on here? All I get every single day is, are you doing something in the bathroom today? Are you doing something in the bathroom today? I'm like, I've got my own plastering business with a couple of lads that I try and keep busy, and I'm constantly getting fed more and more jobs by a double glazing firm. And then obviously I can't escape all the people that know me that constantly put jobs on me, and I can't get away from, like, I'm not complaining, but you know what it's like when you run your own business. You're very, very busy anyway, right? So I'm doing that, and then I make videos for YouTube, and I try and pop a video out once a week. Now, editing a video takes me like 2 nights, and filming as well. That's not filming what we do whilst we're in work. That's fine. Just slows the job down a bit. But the editing of the video takes me 2 nights, and then if I do a sponsorship integration, that's 3 nights. So that's all my time, all working every day, and 3 solid nights in here. And then obviously I've got the sales and marketing coaching group, and I'll usually have a phone call with any of the lads from in there. You know, someone I want little pointed on something to bring in more work or more leads on something or other. And then on top of that, we just launched the SBR and sorting out websites and shipping and shipping prices and labels and flipping orders that have gone. It's chaos. Now I love it. I'm a workaholic, so it's all fun for me. But the bathroom has just been put on a little bit of back burner. But I am it's getting to the point now where she's ready to move out. So my little setup that I made from an ear is starting to wear thin. You know, they're not pleased with having to come into the workshop to have a shower every day. So the next bathroom video will be coming soon, mate. Very soon. That's what I keep telling her. All right, just bear with me. You know I'm busy, babe. Farm Sim Short Take Kirk. How's it all going? Fantastic, mate. N40, you're a real top guy. You take the time to explain yourself in great detail, and you put it away. It's easier to understand how to do things. Thanks for your help and sharing your wealth of knowledge. Thank you, mate. I do genuinely try my best. I always struggle in here when I'm trying to explain stuff because I've only got my hands to try. It's hard to try and convey what's in here to the screen, but I'm glad it's working to an extent anyway. Thank you. Patlink, thanks for all the videos, Kurt. Got loads of tips from you. Done bonding, plaster, multi-finish on a wall and ceilings. 3 rooms in my son's house renovation. Oh, fantastic. Good stuff, mate. Thank you. Thanks for the nice comments. Carl McGowan, Kurt, did you know the biggest ghost hunting show on YouTube watches your channel? You'll have to tell me who it is, mate. You'll have to tell me who it is. Was everyone please hit the like button? This channel is genuine and ace. They work hard. Thank you very much, mate. That's very kind of you. James Oliphone, Jesus, batch 2 gone as well. Flying off the shelves, mate. Have you got any projects upcoming? Start a big job on Monday. Can't wait to see all the walls red with SPR. Yeah. That the batches of what we're ordering in, they're gonna just have to start being increased and increased. But there's stuff that needs to go on at the factory where so at the minute we need to get a filling head that fills bottles sorted. But this isn't my department. I leave all this for the chemical engineer guys. They're sorting this. But they need to get a filling head to be able to fill the tubs of SBR up faster than the filling head that they're currently using. But the thing with the filling head, the faster one, then obviously they're going to sort out a conveyor belt and all the rest of it. You know, it starts becoming a proper setup where it's like a bottle filling plant, you know. Those just for instance, a roller table, yeah, is going to set you back about £1,000. These filling heads, anywhere they can go up to like 30, 40 grand. So, I mean, we're not going to pay that for one, but do you know what I mean? These start at maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 grand and just go up. So you need a half decent one. So there's more things to go there, but ultimately the batches will get bigger and bigger, but only when we can sort of turn out that amount. Well, how much to skim an average sized room? Mate, there's so many variables to this. Let's just say, for instance, it's a nice, square, standard bedroom, okay? A medium-sized bedroom. One plasterer with somebody mixing for him would comfortably plaster that in a day. Now, I know you were thinking before when I was saying about I used to plaster 3 rooms a day on building sites. That's different. Skimming over plasterboard, you can get a lot more on over plasterboard than what you can re-skimming. Now, it depends. Some houses, the walls are all over the place, and skimming is a lot slower. Depends if there's loose bits, cracks. So let's just say that it's a re-skim on a nice straight job. It should be comfortable for one man and his apprentice or labourer, whatever you want to say, to be able to comfortably do that in a fairly easy day. Get there, sheet up, take all the electrical appliances off the walls and what have you, glue everything with the SBR, the PVA, or whatever you're using, your blue grit or whatever else you want to put on. And then 2 nice mixes, ceiling and wall, first mix, 3 walls, second mix, or however you want to break it up. It's usually about a day's work. So your materials, they will cost, let's just say, 6 bags of plaster and a tub of SBR, and your skim beads around about £100 with a bit of scrim, right? Somewhere around there, saying tops £100. And then you've got your plasterer and your apprentice. Now, who knows what they're going to charge? It depends how good they are, how greedy they are. I mean, plasterer for a day could be anywhere. I hate to say this because it makes me feel ill that there's fellas working for peanuts, but there's plasterers out there working for 150 a day. And with an apprentice, maybe who's on 50 a day, so you could get it done for £200 plus the gear, £300. It makes me feel physically sick knowing that there's fellas out there pushing themselves for that money, because once the tax is took out of it, your expenses are out of it, your vehicle, your running costs, all the rest of it, you'd be better off working in Aldi, but there's still fellas out there doing it. So could be £300, and then it could go up to, you could have a plasterer on, I don't know, wanting £400 for the day, and £100 for his apprentice, and £100 for the stuff. So £600. Who knows? Somewhere in between there, mate. But it's very unique to each job and each plasterer how much it's going to cost. Sean O'Connell or Sean O'Connell. Evening, Kirk. Is there any further progress on the bathroom? I reckon the way you've worded that, is there any further progress on the bathroom? I don't reckon that's me missus paying you to say that. I reckon that sounds like something the mother-in-law would say, that one. Is there any further progress? Fergus Roberts, how was your festival? Oh, spot on, Fergus. Good, thank you, mate. Well, I'm lying, actually. Where's it gone? Where's your comment gone now? Yeah, I'm lying, to be honest with you, mate. It's I'm quite specific the music I like. So I didn't like the music. I didn't like the overpriced food. I don't like sleeping in a tent. I don't like being in the scorching sun with no shade. I don't like crowds. So, I mean, the missus and kids enjoyed it. Everything just, I mean, I'm not even, I tell you what, when I say this, I was just about to say everything cost a fortune there. I mean, like bubbles, bubble flipping things for making bubbles in the air for the kids at this festival. Some of them are being sold for like 40, 50, 60 quid for bubble flipping gun machines, that shoot bubbles out. 60 quid. I mean, and I'm not whinging about the money, because, you know, it's not like I'm tight up and I can't afford it. I can pay stupid money for stupid crap. It's just the fact you know you're being ripped off. That's the only thing. You know, when you go and buy a burger and it's like 11 quid for the burger, you're just thinking, like, I'm gonna buy it. I'm not gonna not eat. I'm gonna enjoy it, but I'm just thinking you are taking the piss. You know, it's just extortionate, you know. Ah. Wolves gardening service. When it comes to plastering, can't do it to save my life, but I can do render. I seem to put the plaster on like I'm doing render. Yes, got to go on a lot thinner, mate. Yeah, but the good thing is, with your rendering, you're getting the technique, aren't you? You're mastering the technique of using the handboard and trowel, and that is the toughest part, really, when you're learning. Is just getting used to getting it off there and onto there. You know, that's the tricky bit. Adjusting the thicknesses, mate, that's an easy adjustment. You've mastered the hard bit already. So, Callum King got a lot of good tips from your videos during my apprenticeship, and now starting to get real good feedback from jobs. Top man and top content. Keep up the great work. It's appreciated. Callum, I appreciate your comment, mate. Thank you very much. Where's any advice for setting up from scratch in a completely new area? I've recently moved to North Wales. Bangor. Oh, you're only up the road, mate. You're not far from me. And feeling very anxious as I've only worked under my dad. Got tools, but no van. Wes, not plugging this, mate. I'm just offering it. Yeah, I'm not trying to flipping get you. I'm not trying to squeeze money out of you. I've got a sales and marketing accelerator course specifically for this. I say to people, if you took me now, Kurt Johnson, now Ellesmere Port, and dropped me off in, I don't know, Essex, right? I wouldn't panic for work. I wouldn't be flapping thinking, oh, how am I going to get jobs in? I would literally apply what I've stated in my sales and marketing course to bring in work from Google straight away, from social media, and from other tradespeople. So when you've just moved to a new area, mate, you need to get known quite quickly. You need people to know who you are, and the fastest way to do that is to use the internet. And there's some very you want to be known for being a nice person. You don't want to get attention from people because you're a flipping idiot or irritating. So it's different on YouTube. You know, I don't use YouTube to try and get work. So if you see me Facebook profile, you'd see it's a different kind of approach you take to it. It's hard to explain, but anyway, get yourself in all the local groups on social media. Make sure that you're well known. Give advice. Make yourself available. Make sure that people can see you're a nice guy. You know, if you want me to go in great detail and tell you about it, mate, I'll. James, if James is still listening, I'm sure he'll drop the link for you for the course in the comments here. Otherwise, you can just email me, mate, and I'll help you out. My email address is in the channel description. Drop me an email on there, and I'll send you the link to the course, mate, if you want to jump in. It's £1 a day, by the way, so hopefully it won't break your bank. This is interesting. Look at this. So, in the comments here, right underneath Wes, some other dude, right, has called himself on the trowel. So he's pretended to be me, and then replied to Wes, who's just asked for advice, and says, "Wes, get Vanyamong." Right, Wes, that wasn't me. There's all sorts of strange dudes on the internet, mate. So, right. Ben Bear Jones, hey Kurt, just coated my ceiling, waiting for it to set. Not sure how long to leave it before the next. Thanks for the help, will be appreciated. Have got this far without your vids. Right, okay, just coating my ceiling, waiting for it to set. Not sure how long to leave it before the next. Right, with that, Ben Bear Jones, where are you up to? If you've just sealed it with PVA or SPR, then that's fine. But if you've just put the first coat on, you don't want to be leaving it to set. You want to leave it until you can touch it. You want to be able to touch the ceiling and easily leave finger marks in the ceiling, but it not stick to your fingertips. Okay, if you're struggling to push your fingers into the plaster, you're leaving it too long. You need to go over it a lot quicker. If it's still sticking to your fingertips and it's like wet plaster on your fingers, then just leave it a little bit longer. But you want to catch it just right. You don't leave the first coat to set, mate. Okay. Ben Williams, right there, Kirk. Hope all is well with you. Had an absolute shocker on Thursday. Was picking up and fell over in the back of the van. Flipping broke me collarbone. Looks like at least 6 weeks at home. Oh, flipping it, mate. It's not what you need. Well, the good thing is, though, when you hurt yourself and you have to have time off, it forces you to just relax. There's nothing else you can do, mate. So just take the time to relax. Get yourself a book. That's what I do. Get yourself a book and just learn something in the 6 weeks, Flipping get a book on sales and marketing or something and just study that for 6 weeks. And then when you're back in action, you'll be ready to go. Hi, Kirk. Painter here and respect the skilled tradesmen like you. Cheers, mate. I'm a try. Like, I wouldn't go that far, but a try. Alex, hi, Kirk. Thanks for doing your vids. I'm interested in renovating properties. Yeah, good shout. Good shout. Our little mates commented again on the trowel. 350 labour. Yeah. Sean O'Donnell. Sorry, Kirk. I shouldn't have mentioned it. The bathroom. You're okay, mate. I was only having a laugh. Still not finished, but I was only having a laugh. Wes, nice. I'm from Whittle myself. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Oh, spot on, Wes. What's it? Wait there a second. Right. I don't know what to do with you. So this dude on the trial, right? He's not really doing anything bad, but the fact that you are pretending to be me is a little bit concerning. Yeah, sorry, mate. I'm gonna have to just block you. Stone. Yeah, sorry, dude. I'm sure you're probably a nice guy, but it's just a bit mad how you're replying, pretending to be me. It's just could potentially cause some aggravation, couldn't it? So there we go. Stone Smasher. You don't even have to be nice. Okay. What do you think about My Builder, etc. sites? Have you ever used any? Right. Yes, I've got a My Builder account. Now, let me just tell you a little bit more about this. So, I've got a My Builder account because of my nature and being an absolute workaholic. My brain is constantly just I'm not one of them people that can sit still for long. I've always got something going on. Now, it doesn't mean I always finish things either, as we're talking about the bathroom, but I'm always like looking for what can I do next, I always want to learn something, try something new, do something. Now, I had a plan because I know that I'm quite good at talking to customers, only because I've literally paid coaches in the past to teach me sales and marketing. So the course I have is literally I just take everything I've learned and tell it to the lads so they can just do exactly the same as what I do. Not that I think I'm a group guru. I don't think I'm anything special or wonderful. It's just what I do, and I just tell people it works for me, so it'll work for you. Not that I'm like the best in the world at it. It's just it works for me. Now, what I tried to do a couple of years ago was I thought I could go on My Builder and I could get jobs and I could have a private little group of plasterers and I could literally have plasterers all over the country on a certain rate, and I could price the jobs up and send them to go and do the jobs. So I set an account up on My Builder, and I was going to get the leads in, speak to the customers on the phone, deal with it all, and then sort of run like a plastering business across the country. That was the plan. It wasn't really a plan. It's just I had this mad idea. So I started putting it into place. And then I realised that My Builder was a bit naff. And what I figured out with them sites is the they're like price comparison sites for the public. So what tends to happen on those sites? See, when I go and see my customers, just my usual people that just phone me up, they sort of have an understanding that I'm not going to be the cheapest, it's not what they're looking for. They want someone that's going to try the best to do the best job that they can. That's the sort of job I want to do. I want to try my best to do the neatest, nicest plastering for them. So I think with my builder, the people that are using tradesmen from there, not all of them, there's probably exceptions, but I feel like a lot of those guys, they're looking for just getting quick prices online. Who's the cheapest? Can we be bothered doing the job? Should we leave it till next year because we could pay for the holiday first? And And it's usually the young, sort of tech savvy ones, in the 20s. Now, what you usually find is the younger people, like in the early all the 20s and the early 30s, usually money is a little bit tighter because they've got kids, they've got mortgages, they've got car payments, the building careers, and all that sort of caper. So money's usually a little bit tighter. And it's usually that generation that are on the internet. Whereas my parents' generation, people that are in the early 60s and so forth, you find that people that get to that age, they've got a bit more money because they're coming to the end of the career. The kids have left home, the mortgage is paid off, the pensions are getting cashed in. They've just inherited money from the passing of their parents, maybe who was like in the 80s or what have you, and they just seem to be a lot more financially stable. And these people aren't usually comparing prices on the internet. These are the sort of people that usually get your phone number from a friend and ring you up and you go and price the job. So they're the type of people I want to work for. That they've had cowboys in the past, they've had cheap jobs in the past, but now they want to get the jobs done right and they want it nice. So that's the type of clientele I want to work for. And I find that my builder sites are usually the former. They're usually, the ones that want it for peanuts and they just want the cheapest. In my experience. There might be people that disagree with me. I don't know. That's just what I discovered. So I don't rate them. I wouldn't recommend them. And I don't like the fact that there's people there making money off the back of us lads that do the work, just for setting up a website, because ultimately there's no cost for them. They're not doing anything. They've just literally made a website. And there's hard-working lads that are struggling to get by, that are competing with prices, that are flipping struggling just to, get jobs. And you have to pay for the leads, and you might not even get the job. The person that's asking the price might not even want the job done. They might just want to know how much might it cost to do the living room if we decide to get it done in the future. Oh, I know. We'll go on my builder and we'll get free prices. Right. So they're just sat in the living room with no intention of getting the room plastered, just typing it out living room, put all the dimensions in, and then three fellas who were just trying to put food on the table pay to give them a price. They pay. And then they give a price, and then the sat there, they go, oh, right, yeah, if we ever decide to do it, we could get someone to do it for 300 quid. Right, so anyway, what's on TV? No, it's not my thing. Stone Smasher. It's important, though. Yes, it is important to be nice, mate. At the end of the day, mate, if you're not nice, what's the point? What is the when you start narrowing it down, right? What is the point? What is the point in life itself? We're all here just to experience life, so why not just be nice to each other and try and make everybody's experience of life nice? I mean, you can have all the money in the world, but if you've got no soul, then what's the point? The whole thing about life is just to enjoy the interactions that you have with other people. So there's not really much else to life, is there, apart from having a nice time? And it's not very nice if you're not nice. So, Alan Powell, I might have an old van to sell in a few months. So where is he now? Can't think of the fella's name that was just on about he needs a van. Greg Inman, hi Kirk. Can you do a video on skimming rounded external corners if you get a chance, please? Yes, I will do, mate. I will do. I have got a short, a YouTube short with me doing a bullnose corner, freehand with a trowel. Yeah, I better speed up the comments, hadn't I? Louis Kelly, some sad people. Yes. Alan Powell, for was the chap in Wales that says he's no van. Yes, there you go. That was it. Was contact Alan here, mate. See if you can get a little deal going. Leighton Davis, get your head down, Kirk. We've got work tomorrow. Leighton, there he is. There's the lad himself. Kelvin. We need you switched on tomorrow, actually, Leighton. Make sure you're 100% ready to rock and roll tomorrow, lad. Kelvin, happy Saturday, people. Ben Bear Jones. You're a star. Thanks to you. I got the confidence to have a whack at it. Top man. Yeah, get on that ceiling quick. Where are we? Stay spicy. Skimmed over SPR for the first time in about 18 years today. What a game changer. 1 coat on paint, 2 coats on bare plaster. Hung around lovely and finished a dream. Goes miles and easy to apply. Stay spicy. Was it my SPR though, or did you just use a brand off the shelf? And don't worry, I'm only messing, mate. It's it all works. I'll tell you a little tip though. When you've put 2 coats on the bare plaster, you don't need to. Literally, mate. Literally, SBR is the most wonderful thing in the world. 1 coat on everything. If you're going over high suction backgrounds, just leave it longer to seal it. So if I SBR'd a bare plaster wall, I would probably leave that overnight till the next day. The next day, there's no suction. It's ready to go. I mean, you can give it 2 coats, like I'm just saying, just to save your cost, like, you know. Matthew Buck. Hi, mate. Used your SBR today. Cracking product. 25-meter ceiling to skim this morning. Glued at 8. Had completely dry by 11:30 and done by 3. Plenty of time with it. 1 good coat. Love the colour. Top man. Cheers, Matthew Buck. You're a gentleman. Love the colour. Good price. Probably covers about 60 meters square. That's good to know. It's all people keep asking me, how many meters does it cover, but it all depends, Matt, on the suction, doesn't it, in the background. If it's a vinyl silk, you know, if the walls and the ceilings are all vinyl silk, then your SBR is going to go for miles and miles and miles. If you're going over dry bonding or, I don't know, car-like finish, say all that grey plaster, then you might only get, you know, half of the amount done. But anyway, glad you liked it, mate. Greg, come on, Kirk. Get me teeth in. Greg Cuniff. Hi, Kirk. Sparky doing small plastering jobs for the family here. Walls and ceilings already boarded. Do I need to scrim the joint angle between the walls and the ceiling before skimming? Yes, mate. Yeah, definitely scrim that. Anywhere where the plasterboard joins another plasterboard. In fact, anywhere where there's 2 different backgrounds that meet, you want to put some scrim on there. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, in another job, you've chased the wall and you've got sand and cement and you've filled the little chase. It's good practice to put scrim over that because it's 2 different backgrounds that are meeting, you know. So whenever you get any different backgrounds that meet up, I would always scrim it. So for instance, if you've got a plasterboard ceiling and you've filled the walls with hard wall or sand and cement or whatever, you know, still scrim the joint even though it's not a plasterboard, you know, because it's 2 different backgrounds meeting. I mean, you can fill chases with dry wall adhesive, and people say that's not necessary to scrim it, and sometimes I don't, but I'm just saying, if you know, it's just good practice if you do it. Nick Paintbrush, very philosophical work. Yes, I get carried away sometimes, mate. You have to bear with me. Leighton, what are we on tomorrow, mate? We are Leighton. You need to be. It's 10 o'clock now. So for those of you that don't know, Leighton here in the comments is my apprentice. Here he is. He's actually made an appearance. Leighton, I didn't even know you could spell. I'm quite impressed. We need to be starting tomorrow morning, mate, at 7:30. So you need to be here at mine for about 7:15, mate. Okay. We're only round the corner, but we're doing the scraped render. Josh S. Thoughts on one coat and sponge troweling. Now, Josh, do you mean one coat of board finish or multi finish and sponge trowel, or do you mean universal one coat? Because universal one coat plaster, you put it on, you straighten it off, and then you sponge it, and then you trowel it up. Or you were just talking about one coating. You'll have to tell me a bit more info, mate. Dan, evening, dude. Had my first go at plastering today. Absolutely catastrophic. Yes, mate. Don't worry. Everybody's first go at plastering is absolutely catastrophic. Don't worry about it. It's the thing is, when you start plastering and you're getting the stuff off the board and all the rest of it, you don't learn by getting it perfect the first time. It's like this, right? When you're teaching your kids to walk, for instance, right? They don't learn to walk by walking. They learn by falling over. They constantly fall over in all these different ways. And that's how you start going, okay, I won't do that again. Okay, I won't do that again. You got to learn by your mistakes. You're not going to get it perfect the first time. So don't worry about it. Just keep trying. Stay spicy. It was Boss Stick. Oh, yeah, the little lizard. I don't plaster anymore. Just doing a mate a favour and asked him to get SBR. Got the rest of the walls to skim tomorrow, and they're the bare plaster. Good to know. 2 coats isn't needed. Yeah, one good coat of it, mate, man, it'd be fine. But I mean, he's got the stuff, hasn't he? If you were doing it day in, day out, then you'd be going through tubs twice as quick. That's all. But if it's just a one-off job, who cares? Doesn't matter. Guest in my own country. Do you know what? I don't even need to read your comment. I just like your name. That's flipping ace. Oh, guest in my own country. What do you think about waterproof tanking internally applied in a basement? It's I don't know. It's I don't know which direction you're taking this. Whether I mean, ultimately it's necessary if you want it sort of dry down there. But waterproof tanking there's that many different systems and ways of doing things now. I mean, you'd have to elaborate a little bit more. Um, I mean, I remember the days when they used to put bitumen on the walls and throw sharp sand at it, and then there's ways of tanking with Seco One and slurry coats. I mean, that's not fun. I remember working for a builder once. He was flipping crackers, and he was getting Seco One, and we were mixing it with cement, and this was all his doing. He wanted us to put it all on the walls with a Tivoli machine, which he renamed the hurdy-gurdy. So we had to use the hurdy-gurdy in his basement. And he just like that, just all day, just splattering Seeker One to the walls to give it a key for the next coats to build up. I mean, that was absolutely horrendous doing that. But yeah, there's different systems now, mate. There's all sorts that you can do. There's systems where it's stepped in, metal framed with gullies down the back and pumps and sumps and flipping all sorts of stuff. Danny Hewitt, how are you, Danny? Nice to see you in, mate. Dan, house I bought had a leak, so I scraped off the failed skim, but the new plaster didn't like the bonding that was there. Sealed with SBR, but still sucked the life out of it and cracked the balls. Okay, so Dan, what potentially would have happened there is I would almost guarantee when you sealed it with the SBR, you've tried to skim it the same day. When you've got a really, really dry background and you seal it with SBR, you want to if it's, especially bone dry sand and cement, if there's no waterproofer in it, then you want to leave that till the next day to skim it. You know, give it like 8 hours to completely cure and see all the background, mate. You know, um, or the other option is just give it a good drink. You know, if you're on bone dry sand and cement, it's not always practical depending on the situation. If you're in if you're in an empty house and there's no carpets and the whole thing's just, you know, bare, then I would get the hose pipe with a mist and I would just keep giving that wall a drink until it can't take any more water. Once it can't hold any more water in the wall, so you hose it down, it would all dry and go lighter, hose it down again, and just keep doing that until the whole wall is completely saturated. And then once it stops running off the front and the glisten's gone, then skim it. Then there's no suction because you've completely filled up, I think, all the capillaries in the plaster, you know. Josh S. One coat of multi, mate. Lads on my site swear by it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't personally do it, mate. I mean, this is the thing. Site work now, it's all about the price per square meter. It's all about speed. It's all about the standards seem to be dropping. I personally wouldn't recommend you do that, mate. But I mean, it's one of them, innit, on building sites. I don't think anybody cares anymore. Just as long as they get paid, that's it. But it's not good. Dan, how's getting the plaster off the floor? The hawk didn't see it for long. Symbiosis. What's up, bro? Started watching you a month ago and love it. Cheers, mate. Nice to have you. Alan Powell. They learn to walk by falling over. Love it so much. Declan, hey, thanks for all the great videos. Gave me the confidence to try my first wall the other day. Realized all the mistakes I've made after shining a light on it in the dark. Oof, yes. Hey, that's the thing, Declan. I always tell my missus, beauty is only a light switch away, sweetheart. You know, not for her. Not for her, for me. I mean, you know, when she says to me, get a shave or something, I say, beauty is only a light switch away. Kevin Hoggerhide. Am I saying your surname right, mate? It's not Hodgerhide, it's Hoggerhide. You never use machines like PFT G4 or Ripmo. No, mate. No, not currently. I'm not saying I never would, but I've never yet used a machine. You know, it's not. I've not. You know, I've had a go with them, but I've never purchased one and used it on a regular basis. But that might soon change for the thin coat system because thin coat hand applying it and rubbing it with the float. I've been watching and the machines now, or I don't know, they seem very efficient at just spraying it on. So I might transition to that, even though it makes me feel like I'm becoming a painter rather than a plasterer. I might just have to invest in one of those, only because we're doing a lot of these hub systems where it's render carrier board on the outside, and that leans better towards a thin coat system. And it would just make my life a lot easier, a lot faster, I think, with one of those machines. So we'll see. Declan, hey. Spent last night wet stone in my new trowel. What a difference it has made. A lot of catching and tiger striping gone. Don't know if it's correct, but it seems better. Yeah, that'll work, mate. I usually get a new trowel and I'll wear it in on the concrete floor. You know, I'll just be spending about 2 hours on my knees just rubbing it in circles, you know. Guest in my own country. I'm doing Seeker 1 render, 2 coats at 6mm. Have you heard of trades doing it in the past, say 10 years ago, and it's failed? Cheers. Do I know any that failed? So we did a couple of basements with that Seeker 1 for this builder, and all of the basements were all done on his own properties. And I think on one of them we had a bit of damp come through in the top corner, but I think that was more coming through the ceiling. But no, ultimately, no, no. I think the way his basement was, it was a funny old shape, the way the concrete had been formed, and there was ledges and all sorts where you couldn't get to certain bits. It was a bit of a mad shape because there was a lot of rock and stuff in this basement was being dug out. It wasn't a real basement. He had dug it out, so that was a bit of a funny one. But no, I think Seeker One's quite a good system. Hey up, ask the plasterer. Oh, plastering. Eric, how are you? Evening, boss. Hey up, Eric. Nice to see you in, mate. Um, Ramiro Jolly, I just wanted to say thank you, Kirk. Thank you for the chat today, and thank you for all your videos. You're such a generous, modest, and honest guy. Thank you, mate. Oh, mate, thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. Um, Dave Pangolin. Dave Pangolin. Yeah, your comments gone, mate. I haven't pressed anything, so I don't know if you took it away or YouTube, but it wasn't me. Sean O'Donnell, how's little Kurt doing? Has he been up any more ladders lately? Yeah, he's sound. He's flipping absolutely nuts. He's ace the little dude, though. To be fair, I've waited so long to have a lad. I mean, I genuinely love the bones of my daughters, but it's different with the boy now. I'm sort of, I'm he's like a little version of me. It's like it's ace. My daughter's like little versions of me, but I'm like teaching him skills. Like when we were away at the festival, he's not even two. He's like, what is he now? He's two next month. So we're at the festival. He's not even 2 years old, and he's knocking tent pegs in with a lump hammer. Like me and him are sat down next to each other. I'm taking the tent down. We're taking it down, and I'm pulling the pegs out. But he's getting the pegs off me with his hammer and knocking them back in again. So he's just practicing. But it's ace because forget the tent for a minute. We just put that to one side, right? Let's just practice knocking pegs in now because this is more fun. So I just sat next to him, and he's getting them spot on. He wasn't even missing them. And it's sad, isn't it? Because I'm sat there, right, and I feel like the proudest, all the other achievements my kids have done. And I'm just sat there and I'm made up that he's hitting the tent peg on the flipping top and knocking it in. I was like, it nearly brought a tear to my eye with pride. I was looking round, like trying to catch the eye of another fella to appreciate the moment with me. Like, look at this little fella going to work here. He two hands. He was like, it was absolutely class, mate. So, little Kirk's doing ace, mate. He genuinely has brightened up my life. Scott Never, not a plasterer. I'm a bricklayer, but your channel is one of my most watched. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. I better get some more videos popped out then because it seems like forever since I've had like a month off when I went on holiday, and now I know I'm sort of late with getting one out this week. So I will get cracking on that soon. If anyone's waiting for the video, Dave Pangolin. I hope I'm saying your name right, mate. I've used the plastic speed skim, got the hang of it. Is the metal blade version worth it? No. So the metal flexible blades. If you're going to use a speed skim, right, which I'd prefer, if you're sort of my apprentice, I would prefer you not to practice with. I prefer you to just learn with a trowel. Master the basics with just a trowel, and then use all these other bits of kit to make your life easier, right? But if you learn with all these bits of kit, then you become dependent on them, and then you can't do a job without them, or you struggle to work without them. So speed skims, they're great, especially for flattening in over Artex or flattening your first coating, or giving it the first pass, flattening in before you start troweling up. They're okay for that. They work lovely for it. The metal ones bring the moisture to the surface of the plaster. So I mean, if you're using them further on down the mix, then they become like using them like a flexi trowel, which there's so many ways we could go with this conversation. I personally, I use the plastic speed skim for flattening my Artex ceilings after the first coat. Okay, I've got a metal flexible blade that Atlas sent me, and it's still in the box because I know I've used metal in the past, and when you go over flattening in, it starts bringing the moisture out and it goes all streaky, whereas plastic doesn't. So I prefer the plastic one, mate. I wouldn't. It's not going to make it any better for you, is what I'm saying. Fergus Roberts, have you seen that smooth plastering on TikTok? Always loading a full trowel into corners. I always have you in mind when I see him doing it. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Smooth. Yeah, I know. And it's just the way I plaster now, but I'm not knocking anybody else because I'm sure the finish that he gets, it must be a nice finish. He's getting paid and what have you. Fine. Everyone does everything their own way, don't they? Everyone's got their own way of doing things. But when I see fellas just loaded the trowel, going right into the corner, it's all over the walls. It's just like, oh, I hate mess. Just do it neat. Just do it nice and neat, please. Calvin Jones in the pub again. SBR on order. I'll catch up later. Hope all's spot on, Calvin. Enjoy, mate. Dave Pangolin, I used to save what? Mate, there's a heart in the way. I can't see it. There we go. I use it to save labour as I'm getting on. Yes, I'm with you, Dave. Yeah, I wouldn't bother with the metal, mate. Plastic. I mean, depending on if you've been in the game a long time, then you'll obviously know how to get a nice job. So I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, but it's nice. You can get a nice polish with plastic as well, and you can with the metal. But you can use your speed skim quite a lot towards the end of the mix as well as it's going in. Greg Concliffe, do you prefer metal or plastic beads, or doesn't it make a difference? Internally and externally. Internally, I prefer to use metal beads all the time. Never want to use plastic skim beads unless it's for an arch bead, because a skim stop bead for an arch bead's a flipping nightmare because they always kink. Externally, I'd rather use plastic for everything now, because the metal, it corrodes and rots and all the rest of it. Even for sand and cement renders, I'll still try and use plastic beads if we're using beads, because I know there's an army of people that start squawking, don't put beads outside. But depending on what you're doing, sometimes, it's better to use beads. If you're doing a scrape render, for instance, like a K rend or an eco rend, which by the way is a superior product. Eco rend is the best scrape render I have ever used. It's always nice to work the beads because you get a nice border around all your work that looks lovely when it's done. Eric C, just on now, Kirk was in the pub. Always love your advice. Eric from Ireland, top man. Cheers, Eric. Hope you had a good time, mate. You've enjoyed a nice few pints. I've been sat here drinking flipping green stuff. Joe C16, good man, Kurt. Great content, by the way. Do you ever paper tape your joints before you skim certain joints? I find especially around blocked up doors tends to crack with scrim. Depends if you take the casing out or not. Paper tape is better, stronger, but if the casing's gone, then you should be fine. If you're leaving the casing in and you're trying to go over the wood, then I can see the benefits of using the paper tape. Powell, Kirk, why plasters sometimes make air bubbles on Artex and old walls? It's just a reaction, mate. Don't worry about the air bubbles. I know they look bad when you're doing the job, but by the time you've finished, you're going to give it the first coat, the second coat, the flattening, the first wet trowel, the second wet trowel, and a polish. They should be gone by the end of that, mate. So don't worry about them. I know they just look horrible, and you can hear them popping sometimes. It doesn't affect anything. When you trowel up, they'll go. Sometimes after you've polished, you might still have a little area where there's a few little pimples or bubbles showing. Just give it another and one last hard trowel, and they'll be gone. It's just a reaction. It's just a reaction with the Artex. Now, you usually get that because you're using PVA glue. Usually, I might be wrong here in your case, but that usually happens, that reaction of the bubbles, when you're going over PVA glue. Because PVA is water-based, it goes live again. It re-emulsifies, goes tacky again when it gets wet with plaster. So that means that the plaster can react with the Artex. If you use SBR and it's sealed, it's gone off, you give it time to set, it won't do it. You won't get them bubbles. But like I say, they don't really matter. They don't really do anything. Carl McGowan, oh mate, that's a sore subject. The knee. I went for my scan. I had the results from my scan back to my doctor. And here's the thing: I never go to doctors, right? So I thought I was going to get. It's actually in here. So, yeah, look, I've actually saved it. This is what they did. I thought I was going to get a letter through the post, right? Now my phone gets absolutely bombarded with messages all the time. Let me see where it is. There we go. My phone gets battered with messages all the time, right? So I don't always get back to everyone straight away. Sometimes things get overlooked just because, like today, I've had like 36 messages, 12 WhatsApps, flipping, I don't know, a million emails, flipping all sorts of nonsense. The NHS text me about my appointments. They didn't send me a letter, not a phone call. They just sent me a text message. So on the 9th of August, there it is there. Oh, no, sorry, the 20th of June. Dear Mr. Johnstone, it is the 20th of June. They text me. We now have the MRI results suggesting a cartilage tear. Please make another appointment to see me or whatever at the and then the medical center. So basically, I don't know. That was the 20th of June, so I need to get back onto them and get that sorted. But it's been that long. Who knows? Who knows? But the knee, yeah, it's all right. To be fair, mate, it's not. I'm sort of used to living with it now. Green Eye 76. Have you ever tried cream of tartar in the plaster mix to give you extra time? Top man. Yes. The cream of tartar was something that me dad and his plastering mate Macca, who lived next door to us, they used to always be messing around with cream of tartar when I was a young lad working labouring for them. And then when we sort of went on the building sites, we didn't really bother with it much after then. And then obviously I wanted to start getting mixes done faster, not them taking longer. So I stopped using it. So I haven't used it for a long time, mate, to be honest with you. But I have used it in the past, and it does make the stuff nicer. Scott Never, to do with trowels, should people be buying running trowels as with brick trowels? Are there different lifts? I don't know what you mean by lifts, mate. Running trowels. I mean, a brand new. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by a lift. All I can say is a brand new trowel. It's so much more difficult to get a nice job with a new trowel. A worn-in trowel is so much easier to use. You know, Marshalltown's pre-worn trowels aren't really pre-worn either, so don't get caught out with that. They they say pre-worn, but trust me, they're genuinely not. Eric C, more thumbs up, lads. There's 93 watching, but not enough thumbs up. Don't I don't mind. I don't mind if you give me a thumbs up or not. If you do, great. But Graham Arnold, what's a good trial for a beginner? I've got a cheap £10 one from Wix for one-off wall, but would like to do more in the future. Go and get yourself a 14-inch Marshalltown trowel. Now, if you're not going to be plastering all the time, then a carbon steel would probably scare you because it's going to rust. Okay, so go and get yourself a stainless steel 14-inch plastering trowel. It doesn't matter if it's a gold trowel or a pre-worn trowel. It won't really make a great bit of difference to you. Just go and get a 14-inch Marshalltown trowel and just check it. Just check it. So when you look down the trowel, if you're going to go to B&Q and pull one off the shelf, I mean, excuse me, look, there's me pot noodle from before, you know, because I'm dead healthy. I look after myself, and I eat pot noodles as well. Right, so when you get your trowel off the shelf, you want to hold it like that and look at it. Yeah, and you want to look down the trowel, and what you want to see is a slight curve that way. Okay, it could be dead straight. That's not too bad. It's better to have it slightly curved towards the handle. Yeah, slightly towards the handle. If it curves the other way, if it's curving out, the corners are touching out the bottom here, it's no good, because you got to think when you put it on the wall, you want the middle. Imagine exaggerating here. I'm exaggerating it. You want the middle of the trowel to touch and the corners not to be touching. Okay, I'm exaggerating that. You don't, but that's what you'd imagine it would do. If the corners are going to touch first, you're going to dig in and leave lines. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to check your trowel, and you don't want any little wobbles in it either. You know, you want to just see a nice curve like that, and just a nice gentle curve. Nothing too sharp. It should only be very slight. But if there's any bit in it that goes the opposite way, then just put it back and get a different one. You know, Marshalltown 14-inch trowel. That is a perfect trowel for beginners. I use a 4-inch thinner there. It won't really make a difference to you. All right, so 5-inch or something, be fine. Kevin Hoggerhide. Hi, Kirk. I will re-comment the machines. It will double up your production. Right, sorry. Hi, Kirk. I will re-comment the machines. It will double up your production. You can also use it for thick layers, rendering, and gypsum. I'm from Holland and have to say we use Knauf gypsum, one coat finish. Knauf, Knauf, I don't know how you pronounce it. Different every time I say, I call it Knauf, but people call it North. Everywhere they go, someone calls it different. But yes, yeah, the machines. I've just never got into it, but I will. I'm not one of those that's holding on to the past, you know. Halves for Coco. Hi, mate. Love the video. Has been teaching me a lot. Any tips on how to break in a new trowel quicker, or anything you do to a new trowel before using? Take it like that. This is all I do. Just take it like that. Put it on the floor, on a concrete floor, and just rub it in circles. All you're trying to do is just take that edge off there. You're trying to make this sharp, you know. I just rub it on the concrete floor. People have their own weird and wonderful ways of doing it. Some guys will rub it on a whetstone. Some guys won't bother. They'll just use it straight off the bat. I always just try and knock that corner off a little bit, just on the concrete floor, and then loads and loads of rendering. Sand and cement is wonderful for wearing a troweling, you know. It just takes time, mate, you know. Guest in my own country, what are your reactions to Kirk Giordano, including skills, wife, car, outlook? Kirk Giordano, right, or Giordano, he was the original YouTube plasterer, that guy. And I like his name as well. He's got a good name. Anyone called Kirk, I like, apart from that little mug off Coronation Street Kirky. That dude ruined my life. Flipping. I had not a bad time in school with everyone calling me Captain Kirk. I could handle that because Captain Kirk was still quite a cool guy. I mean, I don't watch flipping Star Trek and Star Wars and all that. It's not my thing, but I had to go and see who he was, and I thought, yeah, okay, yeah, he's the captain. He's, whatever. That's quite a good role, isn't it? But then this little dude flipping Kirky on Coronation Street, the little nerd. Everyone, my missus calling me Kirky. I was like, shut up, Fizz. Kirk G. O'Donnell was the original plasterer, but I'll be honest with you, I don't. Here's the thing: I don't watch plastering videos on YouTube. Like, all I do all day is plaster, and then I come home and make videos about plastering, and then I talk to people about plastering. But then when when I have the odd 20 minutes to myself to just chill out, I watch like music videos. I tell you what I was like watching on YouTube. I watch a channel. It's saved in me little thing. It's called Combat Crew, spelt with a K, Kombat, Combat Crew, right? And it's just, for me, it's just therapeutic. And what it is, it's a Russian lad. I can't understand a single word of what's being said, but you don't need to. He just goes around with like heavy Russian machinery in swamps and rescues other machinery and gets it stuck, and he just messes around with heavy machine. I just watch that. That just chills me out, watching him do that and speaking in his Russian language, and I haven't got a flipping clue what he's saying. But I don't really watch Kirk G. O'Donnell, so I couldn't really comment on him. But from what I can remember, he was quite a decent bloke. He was always talking about being on the Union, wasn't he? Back in his day when he was in the Union, or on the Union, I think he says. David Gillette, hi Kirk. What are we now? How's he saying? Hey, Kirk Giordana here. We've got Jason on the camera. Anyone that talks like that's just a cool dude, aren't they? And he's always in his whites as well. I do admire him for that, because my old fella was always in his whites. Yes, see, that's got them well trained. See, I didn't even have to click; it just appears. Thanks, babe. That was the wife. And I know I seen her head then, and she's never wanted to be on camera. So you're very, very privileged, you guys, to have seen my missus there. Right, David Gillette. Hi, Kirk. I was just wondering if Thinko would spray over K-Rend. My sister had a house done with K-Rend, but it's a shit job. I was thinking I could prime the K-Rend and then spray top coat on it. Do you know what? I mean, it's a pitted texture. If you sprayed the thin coat on top of it, I think that would work, mate. I mean, what I would do is, I can't see any issues with that. It's going to give it a slightly different texture because it's pitted, so you wouldn't be rubbing it with the float. What I would do is, I would probably just phone K-Rend Technical and ask them, because I would hate to say to you, yeah, it's great, and then you have a problem and then you sort of blame me. I personally would probably do it, but I'm not recommending you do it unless you're happy to take it on your own bat and say it's okay. I would probably just phone K-Rend Technical and just tell them this is what you're planning on doing. You've had a job done. There's ghost lines in it, or halo rings, or blemishes, or whatever, and you're planning on going over it with their thin coat system. I can't see there being a problem, but I'll just check with them. I know if you wanted a fail sort of, if I was going to recommend you do it, I would probably say to you, put a tight base coat over it first. Use like the HP12, very tight over it, rub it up, and then prime it and top coat it. I'd be happy to say that, but just actually going straight over the finished texture with a primer and then the thin coat, I don't know. I don't do tons and tons of thin coat. It's not really my field of expertise, mate. There is a guy, and his channel is called Rendervate. He's on YouTube, Rendervate, and his name's Joel Cook. Right, that's all that guy does is spray thin coat. I mean, he's a plasterer. When I say that's all he does, he does plastering as well. But he would be a better guy to ask if you could just go straight over a monocouche render with a primer and a thin coat. That's more his field, you know. Matthew Buck, what are those trowels? All of them, mate. These are all 14 by 4-inch carbon steel trowels. I've got there's 7 out there at the minute. Don't ask me. I don't stop doing things. I can't help it. There's 7 trowels out there at the minute, and they are at the minute being having a forced patina put on them so they don't rust. I'm making them. Yeah, should we stay there? Let's have a look at one. Stay there. I can't bring them up. Wait, just wait where. Let's just see. Wait there 1 second. Oh. Right, I'm coming back. So there's 3 in like a paint, like a painter's paint scuttle. I've got to be careful not to spill this crap everywhere though. So in here, in this paint scuttle, I've got white vinegar and Coca-Cola, and these are being force patinaed. Oh, you can see it's starting already. See the black mark there on the bottom and the black dot. These have been in here for about 2 hours, but they'll stay in here for about 2 days until they've gone completely black, and it stops them rusting. You see, I'm going to put them back out there because they stink. It's white vinegar doesn't, Coke doesn't smell too great. Bear with me. There's actually a load of them out there. There was 3 in that one, and then there's 2 more trays out there of trowels being soaked. So they're all the same. They're all 14 by 4-inch carbon steel trowels. So I like wearing them in, and there's lads actually waiting that have bought trowels off me that are just waiting, and they're being used in my van. So I buy them, and then I'll wear them in on rendering jobs, and then they're good to go. Then people can have them, but they're all the same. 14 by 4-inch carbon steel with a patina. There we go. I can't remember where I was going with that. That's what I'm doing anyway. In amongst doing everything else. Those straws. Lift is the angle of the handle to the blade. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. No, most plastering trowels. Well, different plastering trowels have different angles with the handle. So, for instance, Tyzac trowels, the handle is set further back on the trowel. I actually prefer that, but the shape of the trowel I don't like. So, where did I put that trowel? I left it out there. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Tyzac trowels. I prefer Marshalltown because this part of the trowel that I like to use underneath sockets, around the edge of the light switches and stuff, this is fairly flat. When you look down it that way, where's the bloody camera? There. It's got a little curve to it, but it's fairly flat. It's slightly curved. Tyzac, nicer trowel in my opinion, but very curved. So because I like to use this part of the trowel, it's no good because it's that curved. It'll just leave the wall all out of shape, YouTube. Hi Kirk, I've just moved into a new workshop which will be used for wet polishing granite worktops. Is there a waterproof plaster that I can use to create a polishing area as it's damp brick at the minute? Yeah, you can just basically, mate, what we were talking about before, use Seeker 1 and basically tank the area. I mean, you could use sand and cement and just put an integral waterproofer in there. That'd probably be fine for what you're doing. Wait there, let's just finish answering that question. So, if you're going to use an integral waterproofer, you can just buy it from a builder's merchants. Make sure the brickwork's cleaned down, brushed down with a stiff brush or a wire brush. Can't be any paint on it or anything. Go and buy a tub of integral waterproofer, mix it with sand and cement. You can do a 3-to-1 mix or a 4-to-1 mix. I would probably just do a 4-to-1 and use the same for both coats. Some fellas prefer it to be slightly weaker for the second coat. I mean, all the books tell you to do that, but I've always just done a 4-to-1 mix, both coats, and it's been absolutely fine. And away you go. Scratch coat it, top coat it, and rub it up nice and smooth. I mean, ultimately, if it's a workshop for yourself and you're not a plasterer, it doesn't have to be amazing, does it? It just has to be on the wall to keep it dry. But Calvin, when are you getting Kurt Judd? I don't know. Do you know what? I would have him on if he'd come on. Halves for Coco, top man. Cheers for the information. No problem, mate. Joe C16 just wondered if you ever use gypsum skim coat plaster. It's what we use in Ireland. I've used the multi-finish a couple of times. I liked it a lot. Very slick, not great on boards that are heavy. The gypsum skim coat, I've never used it. The only thing I've had from Ireland, which we got in COVID, was Carlite finish. The grey plaster, which we used to have in England all the time. England, Scotland, and Wales, we used to have it, but now we never seem to have it, you know. And the only time I got to ever use it was when it come over from you guys over in Ireland, because we ran out of everything else. Guest in my own country, shut up, Fizz. Without being nasty, Kirk's wife is English. And she is right lush. That makes me laugh too. Oh, flipping heck. Sneaky, yeah. She's not a bad looking gal, the old missus. She's all right. She was hot when I first met her, but that's what age does to you. You know, she's still fairly hot. You know, I would say I'm not bad looking. I've just changed shape over the years. You know, I used to be sort of bigger up here and tapered down here, and now I'm sort of tapering in at the shoulders and just going out at the belly instead. Gravity for you, isn't it? Gravity's taking the effect. Sneaky Reaper. Hi, Kirk. I sometimes get tiny blisters and peeling when giving it the second polish or when doing the dry trowel. It's a pain in the ass, as it's always right at the end. Thoughts. Let it, if you, right, so that could be a couple of things. It could be that you're using a newer trowel, and if it is, then try give it a polish, say, but then try letting the wall go off a little bit more before you go again, or try using a little bit more water on the back of the trowel before you polish. That might, you know, a bit of lubrication. Usually that blister and tearing is if the plastic is sticking to your trowel, if it's not worn in, or if it's bone dry. So you can get around that by using water, using a better worn in trowel, or letting the plaster set a bit more so it can't stick to it because it's actually setting and you're just closing the surface in, you know. Matthew Buck. Why do you like Eco Rend, mate? I haven't tried it. Worth giving it a go. Yeah, Eco Rend. So I'll tell you what happened with them. I used their product. I made a video about it, and because it was a job gone wrong. So if you look at if you look at my last videos, that's the best thing to do. Actually, if you look at me latest videos, I did one. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, 5 videos ago, and it's called the best render for beginners. That's the Eco Rend. We were doing a job and it was meant to be done with K Rend. She had picked the colour and they didn't have it in stock. So we ended up having to use Eco Rend because she didn't want to wait for weeks. And it was the same colour, but it was the first time I'd ever used Eco Rend. And all I can say to you is, mate, it's like spreading whipped cream. It's beautiful to use. If you're used to using like the likes of K Rend and then you start using Eco Rend, it is a completely different world. It's flipping lovely. It goes off quicker. It scrapes up nice. It's just nice. It's just nice to use, mate. So every part of the job is nicer with Eco Rend. So anyway, I made that video for them. Well, I just made that video And then they seen it, EcoRen seen it, and invited me up for a tour around their factory in Yorkshire. So I'll be honest with you, it was a bit of a pain in the butt because it was right at the wrong time for me because I was very busy. But they invited me, so I went, and I was glad that I did. They took me around all the factory, flipping nice place. I mean, it was ultimately, it was like, best way I could describe it, it was like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you know, with Willy Wonka for plasterers, because he just took us all around the factory, showing us all the different things, which is fairly interesting. You know, it's nice seeing how the stuff's produced, and then told us all about the company. And the company EcoRen's actually a family-run business. Everyone that works there was seemed happy. You know, you go to factories and everyone's pissed off and miserable, and everyone in that place had a big smile on the face. Whether they'd all been whipped and told to smile because they were having visitors, I don't know, but they all seemed genuinely happy. And then they took me out for a bite to eat, and that with the managing director and a few of the reps and stuff. There was like 4 of us went out for a steak at the pub, so it was nice of them. I mean, I just made a video, and then they appreciated it, and there was no sort of plan of that. I was just putting it out there for you guys, saying, look, I've used this, it's lovely, it's far nicer than everything else I've been using. And then they just took it upon themselves to reach out to me, which was nice. So yeah, all good. So now I am singing the praises for them because they give me a nice steak. So get out of it. Scott Never, are you in the shed? Basically, mate, yeah. Basically. So I'll tell you about this. Yes, so this is my workshop. Well, in there's my workshop through there. I can't show you because it's on my laptop, you're all plugged in. If it was on my phone, I could take you on a little tour. But I've got a workshop here that's about, I don't know, 10 meters long, 9 meters long. Anyway, and then this is like the little office I built at the end. And we put the plumbing in. There's a toilet and that in there. We're a bit stuck for space because I've got a couch here, so the door wouldn't open properly. So I didn't bother with a door. And because it's only me that comes in here, it's quite cozy. I'm quite happy with a curtain or well, a Budweiser flag. You know, that does me for when I go in there. But this is like a brick building. It's all brick and block right the way up to the top there. The rest of it round here is brick, sort of waist height, and then I've put a timber frame on it so I could insulate it, and it's got like composite cladding on the outside, a pitched roof. But then in this office bit, my missus wanted me to plaster it. She thought, you know, I'd have it all dead modern, plastered, nice straight lines, white spotlights, all the rest of it, you know, she really fancy. But I'm like, no, that's what I do every single day. Can you imagine, right, if I sat in here now and there was a crack in the ceiling line or something? It just because I built this place before I even had a YouTube channel. This has been up for a few years, so I just didn't want any plaster. I like it being timber. I can put a screw anywhere I want. I've got me rifles on the wall. I can just put me anything I want to do. I can just screw it to the ceiling. Anything. So that's how I like it. I'm flipping sick of the sight of plaster. Scott Never. Yeah, right. Graham Arnold. Is the green or blue grit any good to use on old walls that have been stripped from old wallpaper? So, I personally don't like grits. I would use a grit if we're going over steel. If we need to dab to steel lintels, I'll use grit for that. Or we used to use it for plastering the back of the concrete staircases in apartment blocks. Other than that, I personally don't like grit because of the aggregate in the grit, your plaster has to go on thicker to get over the front of it. And it's okay if you're doing a one-off job, say, but if you're a plasterer and you're doing it day in, day out, then you'll notice that you've got to considerably put it on thicker, which is a pain in the ass because it just means more gear that you've got to get on the wall. So I personally don't like it. Thistle Bond It is the recommended go-to by British Gypsum because it's their product. It's about 70 quid a tub, or it was flipping 20 years ago when I bought a tub of it last. It's probably more now. But Blue Grit, I mean, ultimately, they both do the same thing. Blue Grit is amazing at holding back suction, by the way. So you could use Blue Grit, but I personally don't like the grit. So, like I say, unless if I'm going over steel beams and we're going to dab plasterboards at the bottom of the steel, you've seen now, haven't you? These extensions, right? Where they've like the corner is cantilevered, yeah. So they have the bifold doors that opens the whole corner of the building is completely open. There's no posts, there's nothing supporting it, yeah. You've seen them, haven't you? Cantilevered with the brickwork and the steel. Well, underneath that steel, you know, how are you going to get a plasterboard to stick to that? So what I'll do in that situation, I won't use thistle bond it just because of the sheer cost of the stuff, but I'll go and get blue grit instead and paint the bottom of the steel with blue grit. And then obviously when you dab it, you want to stick to the steel, but you also want to try and tie it in up the walls, because even with the blue grit, I don't like relying on just that. You want to do everything you can to sort of tie it into the brickwork, you plaster with your adhesive, you know. But that's when I'll use grits. That's really the only sort of instance when I'll use a grit. And they're both pretty much the same, really. In your case, mate, I'd probably just use PVA glue, or if you wanted to really make it nice and easy for yourself, use SBR. That's what I use all the time, SBR. I sell the stuff, by the way. Little plug for you. See me now trying to get money out of everything I possibly can. It's just a greedy fat get, aren't I? Graham Arnold. Right, Alan Powell, you are right, Kirk. Knauf is a German company brand and is pronounced Knauf with a silent K. North, Knauf, yeah, okay, Knauf. Yeah, I don't know. I'll need to go to Germany to learn exactly how to pronounce it. John Meller, what made you choose between stainless and carbon, Kirk? The truth, what made me choose between stainless and carbon? The truth, boredom. That's it. Boredom. I used stainless steel for a few years, and then I picked up a carbon steel trowel that was my dad's friend's, and it feels, when you're on the wall, completely different. A carbon steel feels like it's dragging on the plaster, and I just thought, wow, that feels weird. And it was just interesting to me, and that was the only reason I switched to using carbon. And then I switched back and used stainless for a couple more years, and now I've been using carbon steel for the last 8-9 years, I'd say. Maybe longer, I don't know. Yeah, 8 or 9 years been using carbon steel. But, you know, literally, I prefer it because of the way it feels, but it was just literally because it's different, you know. That's the only reason. Hi Kirk, I'm doing some rendering for the first time. I'll be using plastic beads, but can't find pink grip anywhere local. Is there anything else that you would recommend? Yeah, just stick them in with base coat, bed them in. So try and make it so it don't put too much base coat on. Just coat up behind the beads, and then gently just place your bead into the base coat and just step back, adjust it as you need, and just carry a damp cloth with you. Scrape any overspill, take it all out. If you get good at this, you won't have any overspill. You won't get any on the face of the beads either. You know, if you're careful and you don't go mad with the stuff, you know, just gentle, nice and neat. Take your time. It's faster to go slower and be neat than to rush and go fast and be messy and have loads of cleaning up. Okay, so just take your time, bed it in, clean it down, and then just use your damp cloth at the end just to wipe the face of all the beads down, mate. All right. Whoever was giving me loads of likes then, cheers. There's another couple. Thank you. Guest in my own country. Kirk, Giordano's wife is English, to clarify, lol. Oh, fair play. Fair dues. I never knew that. I didn't know that. There you go. I've learned something today. He must be nuts, mustn't he? He's there you go. It's confirmed that he's definitely a lunatic. He's got an English wife. she, she batters him every night. Um, if she's anything like my missus, then she probably does as well. Uh, W White, I've hacked some plaster off. Can I brush SPR onto the existing render and then plaster over it once it's dry? Yes, mate. Yeah, as long just check it's solid. You know, tap it, make sure it's nice and solid. Simon Green, hi. Have you ever used the gold refiner? Had two and just leaves a terrible finish. Cannot get a good edge on the blade. I've actually got one. Refiner sent me one, but I still keep using the same trowel that I use day in day out, unless I'm breaking these in. I haven't moved on to the refiner trowel, and simply for the reason that it's wider. So I use a very thin trowel. It's only 4 inches wide is the trowel that I use. And the refiner one that I've got that they've sent me is a 5-inch trowel. And I'm just that used to using a 4-inch trowel now. I've just stayed with it. So the guy that asked me before about the different trowel, stainless and carbon, I actually just use a 4-inch wide trowel now as well. Just because going mad when I was younger, trying to show off, trying to be the fastest plasterer in the world, I flipping hurt my wrist using a 20-inch trowel for a couple of years. Give me not I don't know if it's carpal tunnel syndrome. I had shooting pains down my wrist, and it would literally I'd go to pick a pint up and go, I couldn't, I could go to the gym and train with it, and the next minute it'd be like in certain positions. It was so weak, it was bizarre. So I changed to a 4-inch blade to give less pressure on my wrist. Graham Arnold, is the gypsum multi-finish that says quicker drying formula any good for beginners, or is a slower setting better to use? Yeah, go give yourself as much time as possible, mate. Just go with multi-finish and don't speed it up when you're beginning, when you're practicing, because for you, it's going to feel like it's very fast, the whole process. Whereas when you've been doing it for, 10 or 15 years, then it'll feel like it's taking forever to set. But for now, I'll give yourself all the time in the world, mate, because you've got to wash your tools off, clean any mess up, and you're trying to do all that whilst you're trying to get your wall nice. So, yeah, I'll definitely just use normal multi-finish for now. Josie, did you ever finish your bathroom? No. Dave Clark, rifles. Yeah, I've got only air rifles, two air rifles. I've got a Remington up there, and then I went out with my dad the other day in my old Toyota Hilux. I got the old Mark III Hilux out, and we went up to North Wales shooting school, and I've got an Air Arms TX 200. That's quite a nice rifle, that. Yeah, that's what I have them. I have them on the wall. This is like my little cabin. I like it sort of like a little cabin, Secret DIY. Hi Kirk, hope all's okay. Any quick advice for a YouTuber who's trying to get monetized, like the channel? Keep up the good work, pal. Paul on holiday in Spain. Any advice for a YouTuber who's trying to get monetized? All you need to do to get your channel monetized is get 1,000 subscribers and get 4,000 hours of watch time. So you need to get your videos watched for a total of 4,000 hours, which, to be fair, mate, it's not difficult to do. All I'd say is don't even. Like, I didn't make my channel for any other I didn't decide to make a YouTube channel. The whole how I ended up with a YouTube channel was a bit bizarre, really. And there's probably people that have heard this story off me that many times now. They're sick to the back teeth of listening about it. But for the benefit of those that haven't heard me tell how I ended up with my YouTube channel, it was simply this. My missus takes photographs of absolutely everything, everywhere we go. Kids' birthdays, Christmas, everything's photographed. And years ago, you used to get all your photographs and your memory cards, and you'd go and take them to someone, and they'd put it on DVD for you, and that'll be it, wouldn't it? You have a few drinks. put the photos on, you put and watch them all. Now we give all the photographs and memory cards to a fella, and he managed to lose everything. All the kids' birthdays and Christmases, all gone. Right? Fine. My missus was dead upset. I'm not that sentimental, so I didn't really care. But anyway, what she started doing was then, when Facebook came out, which came out in my lifetime, there's probably kids on here that have just never known a world without the internet. But when Facebook came out, my missus now takes all of our family photos and uploads them all to Facebook and puts them in private albums so no one can see them, but they're all uploaded. I said to him, why are you always uploading pictures all the time? Because it would tag me in. I would get notified. You've just had 1 million photos uploaded to this album and you're tagged in the album. I said, why are you putting everything on? I said, no, it's all private. She said, but I can't lose them now. She said, if I lose my phone and I get a new phone, I just log back into Facebook. I've got all the pictures. If someone wants to see the pictures, I can just add them to the album. It's free storage. It's free storage on the internet. And I thought, you know what? For a not so bright woman, that's quite a clever idea. I thought that was quite a smart move, right? So then, when we found out that my missus was pregnant again, which wasn't planned, it was a little surprise. I got 3 daughters, and then we found out she was pregnant. And I was thinking, it's like Groundhog Day. This is the 4th child coming. And the youngest one was 12. And I was like, are we really? The eldest daughter's 21. We've got a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. And then she said, I'm pregnant. So I'm like, are we doing this again? Really? Have we got to do this all over again? I was like, please let it be a boy. And then when I found out I was having a little son, I thought to myself, okay, in my being sentimental, probably a bit not thinking straight, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to start making videos for my little boy for how to plaster, because I'm thinking I want to teach him everything. There's so much stuff I've got to teach this lad. I've got to teach him how to drive. I've got to teach him how to ride bikes, how to climb mountains, how to make fire, how to, all sorts of things. I've got to teach him how to box. I've got to teach him I've got to take him to the gym and teach him how to train weights. There's so much stuff I've got to show him. And I thought, I need to teach him how to plaster, because one of the things that my dad always was proud of was he taught me to plaster. And then he said, son, I've give you a way that you can always make money. You can do what you want in your life now, but I know that you can always make money because you've got a trade, right? So that's something that's stuck in my mind. And I thought I'd love to teach my son to plaster. But the way the world's going, he might want to do all sorts of stuff. So I thought I could make videos and show him the whole process, how to plaster. And I'll try and inject my personality into the videos a little bit, so it's a little bit interesting for him. And also, if my grandkids end up seeing the videos, or I haven't got videos of my grandparents. I didn't really get to know my grandfathers on both sides, and I would have loved to be able to see what sort of blokes they were. All I've got is just pictures and stories of other people, and if I could sit down and just see the man talking and just get a feel for the type of bloke he was, that'd make me so much happier. So I thought, what I'll do is I'll make videos for my son, and the videos will be there for the grandkids and blah, 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 and I'll store them so they don't get lost. But you can't upload massive videos to Facebook. You can't upload like a half an hour video or an hour video to Facebook. So I thought, right, I'll store them on YouTube. That's it. That's how the channel started. I didn't think anybody would be interested in watching plastering videos, right? So then when I'm uploading them, I didn't really ever used to watch YouTube. I just knew it was a video platform. And obviously I'd watched YouTube, but I wasn't like a YouTube watcher, So I'm doing this, and then I'm looking on it, and then I'm noticing I'm getting subscribers, and I'm getting comments, people asking me questions. Oh, how'd you do this and that? And then it just starts to grow, because then I'm answering the questions, and then I've got like a little community of people that I'm looking forward to speaking to on a weekly basis, because they're become like me internet mates, which was a bit nuts, but then it was quite nice. And then I'm making videos for these guys because that's, oh, Kirk, how'd you do this? I'm like, I'll make a video for you. But ultimately, this channel was just a way of me storing and cataloguing how to do certain things for my son, for if he ever decides to become a plasterer when he's older. That's basically it. But what's interesting now, right? It's bizarre because I get trolls in the comments giving me shit saying, you think you're fucking something special. You think you're the best plasterer in the world and all this. I'm like, no, I don't care. I talk to the camera like I'm talking to my son. That's it. I just talk to the camera as if I've got in my mind, he's on the other side learning from me. That's how I think of it. So it wasn't like, it wasn't planned to be, but then going on from that, then you start getting into it, because then you start, you get like your little YouTube dashboard. From my side, I've got like a little dashboard, and it tells me how many videos are performing, and this video's done well, but this one hasn't. And, and then it gives you little hints and tips. Try making the start more engaging, more eye-catching thumbnails and all this. So it becomes like a game that you've got to try and do a better video each time, and get more views. So that goes on. So that's all I was doing. I was just playing this game then of trying to make better and better videos, which in my mind was thinking it's good for the boy as well. Be more interesting for him to watch. I'll tell you the only thing that bothers me when I make videos, and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm making these for my son, but then I want to show him as well, like how to do good deeds. You've seen, I don't know if you've seen all my videos, but I do like every now and then I do a free job and stuff. And it's just to sort of show my son and grandchildren, hey, he was all right. Your granddad was a nice bloke. He would do kind gestures to people in need as and when he could. It's just to teach them lessons, So I've recorded them so he can see the life lessons that I'm trying to show him and say, look, I actually lived this. I'm not just preaching it. I actually did it. There's where I did it. But then you get some horrible comments off people giving me loads of shit. And I'm not bothered. I'm thick-skinned. But I think to myself, he's got to read these comments. The lad. Now, I could just turn the comments off. Very, very easy to do. Is just turn the comments off. But then I wouldn't be able to interact with you guys. Because there's a lovely amount of people that have got nice things to say and ask questions. And I enjoy helping and giving the advice out as well, and interacting with you. So it's like, do I turn the comments off so I don't have to... So that's how I ended up with a YouTube channel. So all I'd say is just enjoy making the videos, and you will soon get to the bit where you monetize your channel. If you're enjoying doing it, the monetization bit will come quite quickly. If that's all you're focused on, it'll seem like it takes forever. So there you go. Just told you my life story. Josie 16, you'd nearly need to bond the walls after gritting the walls. Far too heavy. Great tip, you said. Use the SBR game changer. Yep, spot on. Immaculate. Mate, after watching your videos, I decided to plaster my kitchen. Absolute masterpiece. So thanks for the help. Fantastic. No problem at all, mate. It's a pleasure. Colin Coombs, Kirk came across an external sandstone gable end with bituminous screed. Is it possible to render over after some preparation work? Sandstone gable end with bituminous screed. Okay, yeah. So what you would probably have to do is give it another coat of bitumen, cold applied bitumen, and just throw some sharp sand at it. Like dash it with sharp sand to give it a key, and then render over that. There might be other ways of doing it. That the only time I ever did this was when my old fellow was teaching me that's how they used to tank walls, was with bitumen and stuff, as well as using sand and cement with waterproofer, but in different situations. But the only way I can think of getting over the bitumen, if there's no key on it already, then you'd have to use something else that will stick to the bitumen, which, in my opinion, another coat of bitumen would work. But I might be wrong, mate. I don't know. That's what I'd probably try and do, though. Another coat of bitumen with sharp sand dash. Matthew Buck, PU foam adhesive board onto the steels only works if they're level, though, plus doesn't transfer and condensation. Yes, spot on, Matthew. Yeah. The only reason that I don't bother foaming the boards on is just because it expands and you've got to try and keep everything exactly where you want it. So, yeah, you can squash it solid to the steel, but Usually there's plates, you know, that's where it's been welded together, so it can just be a pain in the ass because you want to try and get them level, but then they can't be touching, but then they can move in and out on the props. And yeah, you're right, mate. It is a good way of doing it. It just seems like more farting around to get it to stay still whilst it sets, if that makes sense, mate. Tony B, evening, buddy. Just a quick note. Been watching your videos for a while. Kurt, your helpful guides are amazing. You should be a teacher. Your patience and calmness is amazing. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Tony. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Joe James, hi, Kirk. I keep having a problem with my second coat coming while I apply it and when I flatten it off. Can you help? Second coat coming. Yeah, you have to. I don't know what the problem is, mate. You have to. Joe James, tell me what the problem is, mate. What issue you're having when you're second coating? Artisan cars. I would like to come over to you and have a go at plastering with you. Sound, mate. I'm an Ellesmere Port, so the email address is in the channel description. You can just send me an email, mate. As long as you're not a lunatic or a weirdo, you're more than welcome to come and jump in with us. Come and have a little dabble. John Mellor, same as me. That's the same as how I choose stainless over carbon. Do you prefer modern dry lining dabbing, or do you prefer the old style floating set with browning? That was lovely stuff to use. Yeah, dry lining's faster. I prefer dry lining for money, but if you want to enjoy the job and take your time and do a nice job of things, I would much rather floating set. And as well, I think if it's dying out, mate. I think after my generation, there'll be no such thing as floating set ever again. I think it'll be gone, unfortunately. It'll end up being one of those specialist things, you know. And ultimately, it's important because there's so many houses in the UK that haven't got a cavity, that have got a solid 9-inch wall, that will ultimately either have to be membraned in the future when the plastering needs redoing, or it'll be like a specialist trade to have someone come in and float your walls for you because the plasterers can't do it because all they know how to do is dry line, which is sad, you know. John Mellor floated 2 walls out with hard wall last week and really enjoyed the challenge of straightening walls out with floating. Yeah, it's quite satisfying because you know that you've actually formed that wall yourself, you know, as opposed to just sticking some plasterboards on. Joe James, what size trowel would you suggest for a beginner? 14-inch, mate. Go for a 14-inch trowel. Stephen Clark, hello, pal. Hope all is good. I've missed these lives, blaming your wrist on your trowel. Don't even start insinuating anything, Stephen Clark. Don't even start, Clarky. Ross Scougal, evening, Kirk. Speaking of workplace injuries, I have tennis elbow. I'm sure you meant there, mate. I'm still quite young, 30 to be exact. Is there any way to combat it? I'm not wanting to have injections yet. I don't know, mate. I've never suffered with it. I was just about to say you can have a steroid injection, but I've never suffered with it, mate. I'm sure there is, but I don't know. Not something I could advise you on, unfortunately, mate. StewTube, that's a wonderful story, Kurt. Well done. Cheers, mate. There's fellas in here, mate, that I've heard that enough times that flipping they could probably say it word for word for me. Paul Victor Charles Williams, is this live? Yes, mate. Sorry, mate, it is live, but I take that long reading the comments. I have to. The latest questions are probably miles down, but I try not to leave anybody out in case somebody's asked me something important to them, and then I just skip past it, and they just think I'm an arse for doing it. So I try and read all the comments, even the little negative ones that we sometimes get. Craig Meadow, see, this is the thing, right? When I was saying before about getting a little community of people that we know, Craig now is like my mate from Canada, who's flipping ace. Hey, mate. Just joined. The rig took longer than I thought. Mate, I wish, Craig, that I took pictures of my Hilux to show you the other day when I was out in it, but it's back tucked up in the garage again now. Alan McCormick. Exactly, mate. I've learned some tricks from you. Cheers, Alan. Paul Victor. Joe James, cheers, gone. It's all these days. Right, Sneaky Reaper. Where's that gone? You started YouTube vids not knowing what was coming. The reason why is it's come as far as because you are a natural, down to earth chap and funny. Fuck the trolls. Yeah, I'm not. Listen, when it comes to the trolls, right? Don't even worry. Don't. So when it comes to people trolling me on the internet, like years ago, I ended up when I was a young lad getting barred from a pub in Little Sutton, which is not far from where I live now. But it used to be a thing where pub watch, you get barred from one, you're barred from everywhere. So I ended up barred from every single pub in Ellesmere Port. Couldn't go for a pint anywhere. Right? It just so turned out there was one pub that would let you in. Now I grew up on a council estate, still live on a council estate. So I've had a bit of a mad upbringing as well. Like my dad, like used to give you the flipping good eye, and if you stepped out of line. So anyway, I get barred from this pub. The only pub that will let me in now just happens to be the absolute roughest boozer in Ellesmere Port. It is literally when I first went in there, the druggies would come round and do your shopping for you. They'd just come in. Old people would just give them shopping lists to go to Asda and steal it and fetch it back. There was people coming in selling black DVDs. There was all sorts. Everyone that was barred from all the other pubs drank in there. Before the smoking ban, people would skin up. I've never smoked, but people would skin up and roll spliffs and smoke spliffs at the bar in the pub. The police wouldn't come in unless they come in like flipping with riot gear on. It was a mad boozer. Now, there was banter like you wouldn't believe in that pub. There was people flipping doing all sorts of crazy stuff, you know, lock-ins. Because I basically loved the place. I had the time of my life in there. It was, in fact, it was the best pub in Ellesmere Port. Once you knew everyone in there, it was like one big family. But the banter was strong, like very strong. So don't forget, I've worked on building sites for years as well. There's nothing any little troll that doesn't know me can say to me to upset me at all. I couldn't give a flipping toss. So people saying little mean comments to me, I'm like, oh, mate, look, if you've got a problem, right, I'm not hard to find. Just Google me, come and see me. We'll sort it out outside. Flipping typing your little flipping mean words to me. So, yeah. You do get the trolls, but the flipping don't bother me the slightest. Like I say, the only thing that bothers me with it is I know that my missus and kids could potentially see it, you know, and I just think I'm in that predicament because I tell my kids to stand up for themselves, right? So then I get little trolls leaving little nasty words sometimes on videos, and then I know that my kids might potentially see it, and I'm thinking, do I let it slide? Because then do my kids think, oh, well, dad says, you know, stand up for yourself, but he's let him say that and him say that, and he hasn't said nothing back to them. Or, you know, do I start flipping retaliate? So I usually, when I get little trolls, just take the piss out of them because I'm quite strong with the banter as well myself when I want to be. But, and then you get, when you're on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, then it gets a bit much because there's that many comments everywhere. You just can't even keep up with it. So most of the time, I just can't even be arsed. I just whatever. Paul Victor, Charles James, Joe James, is Kirk a Mickey Mouser? Got an accent there. No, I'm not a Scouser. My dad was born in Liverpool. He was born in Anfield, but he moved to Ellesmere Port when he was 7. So I live just outside Liverpool, closer to Chester. You've got Chester, Manchester, and Liverpool, and Ellesmere Port's quite central, closer to Chester, then Liverpool, and then Manchester, you know, in terms of distance. So we have got, I would say we sound a little tiny bit Scouse, but Scousers won't accept us. So if you ask anyone from Liverpool about Ellesmere Port, they'll just call us woolly-backs. We aren't qualified enough to be Scousers. So we're just woolly-backs over here, mate. Paul Jones, just found your channel recently. It's amazing. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Paul. Thank you, mate. Scott Shepherd, hi, Kurt. You've inspired me a lot these last few months watching your vids. I'm not a plasterer, but a painter. and an Ames taper. Because of you, I'm finally pushing my own business. Thank you for all you're doing. I'm sure you meant doing there. Yeah, spot on, mate. Absolute pleasure. All your help. Yeah, no problem, Scott. It's a pleasure, mate. Joe James coming off. I mean, it keeps coming off. I don't know what keeps coming off. What was he on about before that keeps coming off? Oh, your second coat keeps coming off. Flipping that. Yeah, mate. Maybe you're letting your first coat go in a little bit too much, mate. T, hi Kirk. How would you attach dot and dab plasterboard to steel, metal, grit, or SPR? Yeah, I would grit it. But someone did mention before another good way, which is foam it. You could foam it on as well. But grit it and use drywall adhesive, or you could potentially foam it on. G, hi Kirk. Just bought some of the pink SPR. Works great, but what have you done to it other than making SPR pink? Right. So I'll tell you what we've done with it. So I've used SBR for years, and then when I made this channel, I started obviously mentioning it, and then people have started. I don't know if it was because of me, but they've started. A lot more people seem to be using it. I only ended up using it by chance, and that's a different story. But I ended up using SBR by chance because we didn't have any PVA to mix one day, and I just chanced it, and SBR worked perfect. I've made videos. There's a video in my channel on the tests that we did. We did adhesion tests to see if it performs better than PVA and blue grit. Anyway, after people asking me for ages, which brand's the best? Do you water it down? And all different questions about SBR. I just had in my mind one day that we should just I should see if I can just make my own SBR. And then I asked, it just seemed to happen. I asked the perfect person, a mate of mine who was a chemical engineer. I just said to him, where would I go about getting SBR to make my own SBR? I've got a few ideas I want to do with it. How would I go about? Where would I get this from? Who do I need to speak to? And it just so turned out that he could do the whole process for me. He just said, Kurt, we've got the space. We can help you with it. Tell me what you want to do, and let's get working on it. So that's how it come about. Now, I wanted to make it strong. So there's different strengths of SBR. Okay, the strongest you can get is 50% solid. Now, when you look at all the other brands that you can buy, they go from like 40% to like 47%, which you think wouldn't be a lot, but trust me, if it's lower down the scale, it is literally, it seems like it's wetter than water. It's flipping bizarre. It just drips everywhere. So we went with the strongest we could have it. So it's already quite thick. We've coloured it. So I've got basically, we've got the SBR, we've got it as strong as we can possibly get it. We've coloured it so you can see where you've been. We are toning the colour down in the next batch, by the way. I like the pink, but I don't like it drying that deep dark red. So this is like, I'm adjusting it slightly as we're going. Even though I did trial it and test it and all the rest of it, now I'm using it so much myself, I've decided I think I'd like to tone that red down a little bit when it dries. So that's getting tapered off a little bit. Won't affect the strength, it's just the dye. We're going to tone down a bit. And I put a little bit of a thickening agent in it, just so that it doesn't drip as much when you're using it. Another little thing that we did was, I don't know how he's done this, but he's added something else that makes it stay tacky a little bit longer. So it dries fast. There's that many things. It dries quick, so you can get on it after about 10 minutes. And it'll seal, to completely seal the background so there's no suction over about 8 hours. But it'll still feel quite tacky when you touch it, even after 8 hours. So that's something he's added in. I don't know what he did to do that, but that's what he did. So it's slightly thickened, coloured, strong, and stays tacky even when it's sealed. Okay, but after like 3 or 4 days, it's completely sealed then, and you can still skim over it then. It's just I like the fact that it's still a little bit tiny tacky, you know, just after a couple of after 8 hours. Anyway, there you go. That's what we've done with it, mate. And bottled it, and I think managed to get the price quite competitive. I mean, it just means I don't make as much, but who cares? If we sell enough of it, I'll probably make a load of money off it, won't I? But for the time being, it's you know, it's quite reasonably priced, I'd say. £18 a tub. Well, when I say that, 18 quid plus shipping. If you come to buy it, it'd be 18 quid. But if I've got to send it, yeah, the shipping. Whilst we're talking about that, for anyone that's new that's joined, if you go to pinksbr.co.uk, now you've got till the end of Sunday. There's a discount code that you can put in and get it a little bit cheaper. If you go with 5 litres, 10 litres, or 15 litres, the shipping gets better. As the more you buy, the shipping gets better, right? But it'll give you an option to add a discount code. Just type in pink in capital letters, no spaces, pink 1 for 5, 10, or 15 litres, and you'll get some discount. If you want a lot more discounts, then get 20 litres. You'll get the best shipping rates. The shipping works out about £2 a bottle, so you end up getting a bottle for about 20 quid, 18 quid plus £2 shipping. But you've got to buy 4 bottles and then add the discount code pink, capital letters, no number, just pink, all in capitals, no spaces, and you'll get a better discount. I've got an itchy nose. Where are we up to the comments here? Carl McGowan, Kirk, Ouija brother, the ghost hunters. It's okay, I'll have to have a look at that. I don't know why I've got ghost hunters watching me plastering channel. Don't know if I should be worried or not. Paul Victor Charles Williams in the port. Lol, that makes sense now. Yes, mate, Ellesmere Port. The best place in England is Ellesmere Port. I'm not joking either. Ellesmere Port's fantastic. We do everything here. We've got we make cars. We've got the oil refinery at Stanlow. We make your fertilizer. We make your nuclear stuff. Ellesmere Port is like literally the powerhouse of the country. Flipping, we do that much manufacturing. We used to have all the Robertson Thames sheet steel. Everyone's garden shed basically got made here. You know, when you go into your grandparents' house and they've got that corrugated steel shed, that was all made in Ellesmere Port. It's closed now, unfortunately, but secret DIY. So do I. They are all idiots. I've been using your tips. I hope you don't mind. So, good. Right, okay. I'm just trying to catch up with what you're saying here. Secret DIY. So do I. They are all idiots. I've been using your tips. Hope you don't mind. Also, would like to help charity as well when I am monetized, but I do enjoy it. Does the wife's head in? You're doing good work. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Artists and cars. What football team do you support? I don't, mate. I don't follow football at all. I'm not one of these that don't like it. Well, I don't like it, but I'm not one of these that hate it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not bothered. If I go to have a pint and it's on, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. If I go to my mate's house, he's always watching the footy. It's just for me. It's like if I said to you, "Do you want to come and watch bowling?" You know, or flipping cricket or something. You know, I'm just not against it. I'm just not interested. When I was a kid in primary school, this is where it all stems from. When I was a kid in primary school, I was a little fat kid, right? Proper little chubster. And my mum used to send me to school in hush puppies, you know, sandals with me socks on and me flipping little turned up shorts, and then wonder why other kids were picking on me. And I was not very good at football, and no one wanted to play football with me. And you'd all line up like that and get picked. And I'd be the last one to get picked. And it was sort of like whoever's team that I ended up on, it was like I was a burden to them. It's like, oh, we've got to have him. Like, because they got to the end of the line, it's like, oh, all right, yeah, fine. So I initially didn't like football, and then my dad sent me boxing when I was like, I don't know, 9 or something like that. So then I'd become quite, I was not, wasn't an excellent boxer. Like, I didn't have great style, but I'm quite good at taking punches. I'm still moving forward. So that's the best way of trying to say it. I was quite good at boxing, not because I had loads of style, but just because I didn't mind getting stuck in. So then, because I excelled quite well in that, the bullies stopped messing around with me so much in school because they were just getting splatted left, right, and centre. But then I never really took it to football. It was like boxing was my thing. I wasn't interested in football. So then I just never, the whole following football teams and watching the game and all that, I just wasn't interested. So sorry, mate. That was a long answer for a short question, wasn't it? Alan McCormick. I've always said never trust a fat plasterer. Now I do. don't, mate. Don't. This is all a flipping act. This. Soon as I get in your house to do some plastering, your bank account's just gonna go whoa right into my account. Gaz Croft, hi Kirk, gonna order an on the trial t-shirt, be a plasterer boss like you. Spot on. Hey, do you like this one? Oh, look, it's got the pink. Where is it? I can't. There you go. Look, covered in pink SPR. Take a little bit and go in neat. I've got to get used to the camera. It's the opposite side. John Meller. You're right, mate. Wet plastering will die out and become specialist. Same as coving in stores, etc. Back in lockdown days, remember being Q came out with white finish. Man, it was bad. I know, yeah. Make good plaster. That was interesting, wasn't it? Paul Victor Charles, horse and jockey. No, it wasn't a horse and jockey, mate. That was actually owned by my uncle Albert. He had a massive head, the horse and jockey. But that was the days when I was sort of on that pub watch. The horse and jockey was dead. You just wouldn't bother going in there. It'd be like 2 people in there. But no, you're right. The Knot. That's where it was, Paul. The Knot, mate. Yeah, it was known, wasn't it, back in the day? The Knot is where all the prostitutes used to go for the ships. When the ships used to come in, all the foreigners would come up to the Knot, and that's where they'd pick up the ladies of the night. Bart, hello, mate. I've just bought my first house, and before that, I was watching your videos before moving in. And do my best with plastering over Artex and plastering walls. Thank you for your knowledge. Spot on, Bart. Nice one, mate. The drinker, I've learned big YouTubers just ignore it, but yeah, I think you know about the trolls. Sometimes, mate, I just go in there and have a bit of banter and take the piss out of them, but most of the time, just I just haven't got time most of the time. Artisan Cars, I've just emailed you. Sound okay, mate? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump off this live in a minute. I'll check my emails in the morning, but it's I have got to get stuck in tomorrow, so I'm going to blitz these comments now. So I haven't left no one out, and then I'm going to call it a night. I'll see you guys next week instead. Anthony Picking, Small World Kirk. I've got a T-shirt just like that, the one that you've got. Flipping that, mate. Where'd you get that from? Joe James completely messed my comments up. James Barr, love your channel. Keep up the good work. James from Dublin. And cheers, James. You're a gentleman. Thank you, mate. Big Swan. Easy Kirk. I've just moved into a new house. Every wall is cracked to death. After about 50 or 100 hours of watching your videos, in and out, top and bottom, I managed to plaster my walls well. Thanks, mate. Fantastic, Big Swan. Nice one, mate. Joe James, Anthony Pickett. I have the same logo for my page. Yeah, it must be this. This little dude gets around, doesn't he? The drinker. I wish I had a mate who was a chemical engineer. Only person close to that I know is an Albanian that runs a mobile pharmacy. Sean O'Donnell, Mike Kirk, another spot on live. Catch you on the next one. Take it easy, mates. Have a nice night. Drink it into polymer. Paul Victor Charles, the drink. Joe James, when you're putting the plaster on the wall, what's your preferred place to start and what's the easiest place to start? Okay, Joe James, when you're putting your plaster on the wall, what's the preferred place to start and what's the easiest place to start? If you are wet lining the walls, if you're floating the walls, putting a scratch coat on and a floating coat, yeah, sand cement, bonding, whatever, anything like that that's going on thick, base coat plasters. I'm right-handed, so I start in the top right corner, work to the top left, bottom right to bottom left, okay? If I'm skimming, it's the opposite way around, right-handed, I start in the top left-hand corner to the top right, bottom left to bottom right. Alan McCormick looks pretty in pink. The drinker, you want to try being fat and ginger at school? I was putting goal a lot, yes. Yeah, all good memories, mate. Great answer. Cheers, mate. James Barr, is that your man cave you're in? Yes, mate, it is. This is my own little den. Even though I do get invaded by the kids from time to time. They come in because I've got TV, PlayStation 5, laptop, printer, flipping kettle, toaster, fridge, toilet, you name it. So they come in here because they think they can escape, being under our control, me and the missus, and they come in here and put Netflix on and have the music on and all sorts. This place behind this, I know it looks like a shed because I've put this burnt pallet wood on, but it's all insulated with 70mm Kingspan, so it's a proper job, So the kids try and move in here, but yeah, it is my little man cave. Carl McGowan Kirk, did you ever go to the pub at lunchtime and come back to work drunk? Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, not when I'm working for the public, but I've done it. I used to do it when, the odd times on building sites, you'd nip off, there's a Weatherspoons open, have a pint, have another pint, have another pint. Yeah, I've flipping done stupid things when I was younger, mates. And then what I've realised is, this is how you know, when you think you can drive after you've had a couple of pints, trust me, you can't, because I learned this. You have 2 pints and go back and try and do some plastering, and you keep falling off the crate or off the hop up, you can't get your balance on it. And it just shows you think that, you're really competent, but when you start trying to plaster, you realise that you're not, even after the pint. Arts and cars, have a good night. Take it easy, mate. Clarky, ever thought about bringing your own trowel out for the other plasterings merch? You've a lot of subscribers, mate, and experience. The Kirk trowel, can you see it on Dragon's Den? Flipping it, mate. I haven't got enough time to do the stuff I'm doing at the minute, to be honest with you. The drinker. Oh, I might have had a drink. Bloody chuffed you mentioned me. Feel I've spoke to a pop star. Cheers, mate. Joe Pursglove. Would you travel to Derbyshire for work? Just asking for a mate. Depends what it is, mate, to be honest with you. I don't mind traveling if it's something interesting, but if it's just skimming over the living room ceiling or something, mate, you'd just be better off getting someone close to you, But if it was something different, maybe like a full house of lime, or I don't know, just something not your usual skimming over, reskimming walls, reskimming Artex ceilings. If it was something a bit more interesting, forming archways and running cornice in situ and things like that, I'd be more inclined to do that, But ultimately, I like being with me family, like staying at home with them. Alan McCormick, have you got a PS5? What's your game then? Right, don't laugh at me. I like 2 games, and I haven't played that for a year. In fact, 2 years since I've had the YouTube channel, I haven't had time to play a game. Literally, I think I've been on it twice in 2 years. I like Red Dead Redemption. And the other game which chills me out is Farming Simulator. So that, I know I sound like a nerd, but it's just therapeutic. And I've learned so much about farming and farm machinery for playing it. Now, you'd think that wouldn't really be any use to me, but we keep horses, so we're always on and off farms all the time, and it helps me because now I can actually have interesting conversations with farmers about their equipment because I'm a farming simulator nerd and know what I'm talking about. Paul Victor, Kurt, last question before I go to bed. What's your local in the port? I've sort of quit drinking, mate, since Christmas, but if I did go for a pint now, I go to the Labour Club, which sounds sad, and it is. It's full of old boys. It's chilled out. There's no idiots. You can have a nice quiet pint, good quality beer. It's like sitting in your living room. It's just, there's old fellas in there just reading the paper that have been there for like 4 hours and stuff. It's just a chilled out place. And I just go there to unwind before I come home to the crazy house. So that's where you'd potentially find me if I was having a pint. But like I say, I haven't really drunk since Christmas. So. Imagine being drunk on stilts. I know, yeah. The drinking, I've been banned twice and still banned. I don't drink in the week now. Yeah, it's you should do a few competitions all over. Your YouTubers and making a fair bit off it. Yeah, to be fair, I've done little competitions and giveaways and stuff in the past, but Red Dead, that's brutal. Big Swan, Farming Sim is so good. All the sim games are good if that's your thing. I enjoy it, mate. But like I say, I just haven't got the time nowadays. Hillbilly shit. Craig Meadow, a Kirk Johnstone gaming channel makes. Get me, yeah, a plastering simulator. Imagine that, flipping heck. I'd spew up if someone tried to get me to play a plastering simulator game. My whole life is just plastering now. Clarky, farming simulator, get to bed. Alan, you're a cracking lad. Cheers, Alan. Nice one, mate. Habib, I Kirk have been doing DIY for the last 2 years. Plumbing, tiling, flooring, carpentry, plastering, etc. And have to say, plastering is the most grueling and tiring. Don't know how plasterers do it daily, mate. It's just one of those things. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad. It's just hard to get into it, Triggy, bye, mate. Enjoyed the banter. Take it easy, Triggy. Tea almond, good shit that you aren't drinking, mate. Keep it up. To be honest with you, acid reflux, that's the only reason I actually enjoy drinking beer, but acid reflux I don't enjoy, and I don't want to take medication for it. I don't really like Western medicine, but that's a whole different topic that we could get into. When I drink lager, it gives me acid reflux. I know I could probably drink Guinness or mild and not have reflux, but the thought of drinking lager and the reflux puts me off the thought of drinking, which I'm using to my advantage to just stop drinking because I've loved drinking beer. It's one of my favourite hobbies, but I want to spend a lot of time with my son and I won't get as much done. I won't get this YouTube stuff doing and I won't get my son spending time with him and the family if I'm spending all the time in the pub. So I'm using the acid reflux as a good way to get me away from going to the pub after work every day. The drinker waiting for GTA 6. Yeah, I can't play GTA 6 to be fair. I don't play any of the GTAs, mate. Poor Victor Charles. Subbed Kirk, stay safe. What a trade on the spread. Catch you later, bud. Take it easy, mate. Joe James, love your vids and your personality. Keep them coming. Cheers, Joe. You're the gentleman. Last comment I'm reading. This is the last one. No. 2 more. The drinkers get the last comment, and that's it. Phaser Drive. Hey, Kirk, doing clay plastering in Germany. We're doing whole houses in a day with machine usable plaster. Learned a lot from you and got way more expertise in my craftsmanship because of you. It's very kind of you to say, mate. I'd love to see what you're doing over in Germany. The drinker, yeah, I have the same. So I drink cider and vodka on Gentleman Jacks tonight. Yeah, fair play, bud. Stay strong with a drink. Cheers, mate. Alan McCormick, have you seen the John Daly Bryan's video? I haven't, mate. I haven't. Right, I'm done. No more comments. No more comments. Right. Gentlemen, I've enjoyed it. Cheers for the banter. Cheers for the laughs. It's been emotional. Good night. Take it easy, boys. See you next week. End stream. There we go. And do you know what? Just before I end the stream, I'm just seeing all the comments and saying good night. Cheers, fellas. Appreciate you all. Spot on. Good night. God bless.